Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles. Chapter 398. I'm not interested in the high priest or the leader. If you're really sincere, then tell me the location of the treasure. Qin Feiyang said lightly. Shi Yun immediately shook his head and said, Impossible, please don't force me. Then there's no other way. White-eyed wolf, Fatso, take good care of them. After saying that, Qin Feiyang flashed and appeared in the alchemy room. However, when he opened the stone door, he saw a man and a woman standing in the hall outside. It was Mu Qing and Mu Shua. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and walked out of the alchemy room. He closed the door and said, Why did you come down? Mu Qing smiled and said, Nothing, we were just bored and strolled around. Strolled around? Qin Feiyang sneered secretly. Even an idiot could tell that the two of them were spying on him. He took a step forward and landed in front of the brother and sister. He whispered, You'd better not meddle in my affairs. Don't think that only you are smart and others are fools. The brother and sister's expressions froze. Qin Feiyang coldly glanced at the two of them, then took out a teleportation gate. But what surprised him was that he couldn't open the portal. How could this be? Qin Feiyang frowned and glanced at Mu Qing and her sister. He put away the portal and quickly walked to the bottom floor of the Pill Pagoda. The brother and sister looked at each other, their expressions a little frightened. This person was usually amiable, but when he really turned hostile, it was a little scary. A moment later, Qin Feiyang came to the bottom floor of the Pill Pagoda and immediately saw the city lord sitting cross-legged in the middle of the hall with his eyes closed. Sensing the movement, the city lord opened his eyes and said in surprise, Why did you come down? Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, I want to go out for a while. Go out? The city lord was stunned and asked, Have you told the pagoda master? Qin Feiyang nodded. Then don't mess around outside. The city lord instructed before taking out a palm-sized jade bottle. Inside the jade bottle was a red liquid. The smell of blood wafted out. Blood? Qin Feiyang was surprised. The city lord poured out a drop of blood and waved his hand. The drop of blood flew through the air and landed on the tower door. Boom! Immediately, with a loud bang, the tower door opened quickly. In the meantime, the city lord put away the jade bottle and looked at Qin Feiyang. Come back quickly. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and his eyes flashed. He turned around and strode out of the pill tower. If he didn't guess wrong, it was definitely the tower master's blood. Boom! The door of the pagoda also closed. Qin Feiyang landed on the square and looked back at the pill tower. There was no way to open the portal. Furthermore, the tower master's blood was required to open the tower gate. Could it be that this ancient pagoda was the same as the ancient castle, a spatial divine object? If that was the case, then the pagoda master's identity would not be simple. But all of this had nothing to do with him. Farewell to Sky Thunder City. Glancing at the huge city, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened the portal. He turned around and walked in. The next moment, he appeared on a snowy ridge. Not far below, there was a super-large tribe. It was the Black Tortoise tribe. Heavy snow swirled and the cold wind was bone-chilling. Glancing at the Black Tortoise tribe, Qin Feiyang entered the castle. A series of wails suddenly came into his ears. He saw Luo Yi and the other three lying on the ground. Their skin and flesh were lacerated and their faces were beyond recognition. Blood kept flowing out. The small castle was filled with a pungent smell of blood. At the same time, there was also the smell of urine. Without a doubt, these four people must have tasted Wolf King's holy water. Wolf King and Fatso stood at the side, their eyes full of ridicule. Qin Feiyang looked at them and asked, Have you explained it? Fatso smiled and said, With Fat Lord and Brother Wolf, isn't it a piece of cake? Good. White-eyed Wolf, come out with me. Fatty, keep an eye on them. Also, confiscate their image crystals. Qin Feiyang ordered. Fatso laughed and directly took away the four people's Qinkuan bag. At the same time, Qin Feiyang also took out an illusory form pill and turned into Yan Shi's appearance. You bastard! Seeing this, Yan Shi immediately roared. You still have the strength to curse? Fatso raised his eyebrows and threw the four Qinkuan bag to Lu Hong. He went up and gave him a good beating. Qin Feiyang glanced at Yan Shi coldly. He took Yan Shi's Qinkuan bag from Lu Hong, took out a black leopard skin trench coat and put it on his body. Then, he took Wolf King and left the castle. Hide. Don't show up without my permission. Qin Feiyang said. Don't worry about me. Wolf King chuckled, got into the leather trench coat and hid. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath, jumped down, and ran down. Soon, he came to the gate of the Black Tortoise tribe. Young master, aren't you in the Pill Pagoda? Why are you back? Did you do something wrong and get kicked out? The two burly men guarding the door asked in surprise when they saw him. Little Qin Zi, according to Yan Shi, you usually look very cold when facing so many clansmen. Wolf King said telepathically. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, looked at the two big men, and said coldly, Do you need to ask about my business? He glared at the two of them fiercely and walked straight into the tribe. Wherever he passed, people would run up to him to ask. Qin Feiyang kept a straight face. After a while, he came to the wooden building in the center, and without knocking on the door, he directly barged in. The leader of the Black Tortoise tribe was having sex with two women. The scene was extremely erotic. The leader of the Black Tortoise tribe was slightly stunned when he saw his son suddenly running back. But he didn't ask much, and continued to crazily pluck the two women. Qin Feiyang looked at him in disgust and said to himself, White-eyed wolf, where is the mechanism? Wolf King said, There is a bookshelf in the left corner. Do you see it? Qin Feiyang looked to the left. In the corner, there was indeed a wooden bookshelf, with all kinds of books neatly placed on it. He strode toward the bookshelf. The mechanism is behind the book in the third column on the left. There is a black button. Just press it. At the same time, Wolf King secretly transmitted. Qin Feiyang walked to the bookshelf, glanced at it, and directly took out the book in the third column. There was indeed a black button inside. At this time, the leader of the Black Tortoise tribe looked up at him and frowned. Brat, what are you doing? Qin Feiyang ignored him and pressed the button. With a crack, the ground suddenly split open, revealing a secret passage. He turned and walked to the front of the secret passage, looked at the leader of the Black Tortoise tribe, and coldly snorted, It's best to control yourself, otherwise you will exhaust yourself to death on women sooner or later. With that, he walked in. Bastard brat, how dare you curse your father? The leader of the Black Tortoise tribe said angrily. Then, he lowered his head to look at the two women below him and said with a lewd smile, I'd like to see if you two little girls can exhaust me to death. A great battle of flesh and blood began again. The entire room was filled with the sound of her tender moans. Inside the secret passage, Qin Feiyang stood inside, looking ahead, his eyes flickering. In front of him was a passage about 10 meters long, and at the end, there was a stone door. Wolf King came out of the windbreaker and stood on Qin Feiyang's shoulder, and said, What are you standing here for? Hurry up and move. Qin Feiyang frowned. I remember that the white-haired old woman came out from here last time. Could she be inside now? Are you an idiot? Without the alchemy fire, what is she doing here? Wolf King rolled his eyes at him. Qin Feiyang was stunned, then nodded with a smile. That's true. In the past, the white-haired old woman was here because of the alchemy fire and alchemy furnace. Because all the treasures were here, it was convenient to refine pills here. He quickly walked over and pushed open the stone door. A secret room of about 10 feet immediately entered his sight. Wooden shelves were neatly placed all around. On the wooden shelves, there were a large number of Qinkuan bags. On the right, there was another door. Qin Feiyang walked over to take a look. It turned out to be an alchemy room. He looked around again, and after confirming that the white-haired old woman was not here, he began to frantically sweep through. In less than 10 breaths, the entire secret room was swept clean. Then, he took out a disguise pill and changed into Luo Yi's appearance. Then, he opened a teleportation door and headed directly to the Ming Wang tribe. In the wooden building in the middle, Luo Guang looked at the son in front of him and frowned. Why did you suddenly run back? Did you get into trouble again? But he did not know that the person in front of him was not his son at all. Qin Feiyang hurriedly said, No, this child needs a few medicinal ingredients. Once I get them, this child will immediately return to the Pill Pagoda. Is that so? Luo Guang frowned. Qin Feiyang said in panic, This child doesn't dare to lie. At this time, Luo Guang's expression eased up a lot and said, Go get it yourself, work hard, don't be beaten by Shi Yun and Yan Shi. This child will definitely work hard. Qin Feiyang nodded. With Wolf King's secret help, he successfully entered the treasure vault. Seeing that the high priest was not around, the man and wolf quickly looted all the treasures of the Ming Wang battle clan. Next, Qin Feiyang did not go out again. He changed his appearance into Su Shan's and used the same method to loot the Su tribe's treasures. Finally, he once again changed into Shi Yun's appearance and appeared at the peak of a snowy mountain. The entire process took less than a few hundred breaths. It's too easy to loot the treasures of the 3 great tribes without any effort. Wolf King chuckled. Qin Feiyang held a folding fan in his hand and shook his head. It won't be too late to be happy after we loot the Ziyang tribe. Wolf King said indifferently, It will definitely go smoothly. I hope so. Qin Feiyang muttered. He opened a teleportation gate and directly descended in front of the wooden building in the center of the Ziyang tribe. Next, he pushed the door open and entered. The leader and the high priest were sitting in front of the bonfire, as if they were discussing something. Seeing Shi Yun suddenly return, the two of them were startled. The middle-aged man stood up and asked doubtfully, Yun, what are you doing back here? Qin Feiyang laughed, I need a few precious medicinal ingredients, so I came back to take a look. Is there any in the warehouse? So it's like that. The two of them nodded in realization. The high priest asked, Yun, do you have any news about Qin Feiyang? No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Where is this little guy hiding? Chapter 399. Qin Feiyang laughed, This matter is not urgent, he will appear sooner or later. The middle-aged man nodded and said, Yun, is right. Haste makes waste. Let's wait slowly. The high priest smiled and asked, What medicinal herbs do you need? I'll go get them for you. I'd better go by myself. You guys continue chatting. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. He walked to the front of a wall with ease. On the wall, there was a landscape painting. Qin Feiyang lifted the landscape painting and a secret compartment immediately entered his line of sight. Inside the secret compartment, there was a palm-sized jade lion. Qin Feiyang grabbed the jade lion and turned it with force. The ground beside him split open, revealing a secret door. Following that, he walked down openly. The leader and the high priest did not suspect anything. Below the secret door was also a passage. There was a stone door more than 10 meters away. Qin Feiyang walked over excitedly. At the same time, the black tortoise commander who was lying on top of the two women let out a low growl. He was finally done. Awesome. He let out a long breath and looked at the secret door on the ground. He frowned and said, Why hasn't this brat come out yet? He definitely doesn't want to disturb us, so he directly used the teleportation gate to leave. A woman said sweetly. If only that brat was so sensible. I'll go take a look. The Black Tortoise commander snorted coldly, got up and put on his clothes before striding into the secret passage. However, when he entered the treasure vault, he was dumbfounded on the spot. Where was the Qinquan bag? Where was the treasure? Bastard, I won't forgive you. With a furious roar, he opened a teleportation gate and walked in. Luo Guang of the Ming King tribe and the leader of the Su tribe also discovered that the treasure vault was empty. And just like the Black Tortoise commander, they immediately opened the teleportation gate and headed to the Sky Thunder City. And then there was Qin Feiyang. He came to the stone door and pushed it open. This was also a secret room that was more than 100 feet long. One by one, the Qinquan bags were neatly stacked in the secret room. Wolf King smiled proudly. Brother, what do you think? Did it go smoothly? Take these treasures and we can leave. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. With a flick of his sleeve, a large pile of Qinquan bags disappeared without a trace. Wolf King suddenly said, Little Qin Zi, have you thought about how we're going to leave? I've made up my mind. Let's go to the glacier near the Lu tribe first. Qin Feiyang nodded. When they entered the Forgotten Land, they arrived at the glacier over there. The only way to get out of here was in the glacier. Yun, have you found it? I'll help you look for it. But at this moment, a faint laugh rang out. Oh no. Qin Feiyang was shocked. He quickly turned around and saw that the high priest of the Ziyang tribe had also entered the secret door. He smiled calmly and said, There's no need to help. I've already found it. I'll be out soon. The high priest said, I happen to need some battle chi pills as well. Hurry up. Wolf King urged. I know. Qin Feiyang replied secretly. With a wave of his hand, all the Qinquan bags in front of him disappeared in an instant. He turned around and took a step forward to take away the Qinquan bags on the other side. At this moment, the high priest had already entered the passage. As she walked towards the secret room, she looked inside the secret room. When they entered the secret room before, Qin Feiyang did not close the door. He did not expect that the high priest would break in at this time. So, the high priest saw at a glance that all the Qinquan bags were gone. Yun, what are you doing? She frowned, took a step forward, and landed in front of the door of the secret room. She immediately saw that Qin Feiyang opened a portal and was about to walk into it. Wait. The high priest raised her eyebrows. She pointed her finger in the air, and a battle chi blasted on the portal like lightning. Boom! With a loud bang, the portal shattered on the spot. Qin Feiyang was also sent flying. Wolf King, who was hiding in his windbreaker, also fell out. When the high priest saw Wolf King, a trace of surprise appeared in her eyes. She asked, Yun, when did you have a wolf by your side? You still don't recognize it? Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. He smiled and said, I met it in Sky Thunder City. Seeing that it was a little pitiful, I took it in. Then tell me, what do you want to do with all the Qinquan bags? This is all the savings of our tribe. If you want to take it away, you have to discuss it with us first. Tell me, did you cause some great trouble in the Sky Thunder City? The high priest walked into the secret room and questioned. Qin Feiyang was about to speak. At this moment, the middle-aged man also entered the secret door and asked, What happened? Why did you cause such a big commotion? The high priest said, Yun, took away all the treasures. What? When the middle-aged man heard this, he turned into a ray of light and landed in the secret room. Sweeping his gaze across the empty secret room, he immediately frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang. What are you doing? What should we do now? Qin Feiyang was burning with anxiety, and said, But at this moment, the middle-aged man noticed Wolf King again, and a trace of surprise appeared in his eyes. Why does it look a little familiar? Qin Feiyang's heart trembled. Familiar? The high priest looked at Wolf King again, his eyes filled with thought. The man and wolf could not help but become nervous. The middle-aged man suddenly said, I remember now, it's the wolf on the wanted poster. Yes, that's it. The high priest's eyes lit up, and said, Yun, isn't it Qin Feiyang's companion? Why would it be with you? That's not right. The middle-aged man sized up the sun in front of him, and his eyelids suddenly twitched. Yun, do you remember when I became the leader of the tribe? The middle-aged man asked. Obviously, he was already suspecting Qin Feiyang's identity. It seems that I can't hide it anymore. Qin Feiyang glanced at the two of them, and simply took out a facial restoration elixir to restore his true appearance. It's really you. The middle-aged man's eyes trembled. How dare you pretend to be Yun, and come to rob the treasure house of our Purple Sun tribe? Qin Feiyang, how dare you? The high priest shouted angrily. The treasure has already entered our pockets. What's the point of saying this? How about this? Brother and little Qin Zi will join your Purple Sun tribe, and these treasures will belong to us. How about that? Wolf King laughed sinisterly. In your dreams. The two of them shouted at the same time. Qin Feiyang asked, Then what do you want? I thought you were a talent, so I wanted you to join the tribe. I even planned to let you be the high priest. But I didn't expect you to rob our treasure house. You want to write it off? Sure. But you have to hand over the treasure and swear that you will always be loyal to our Purple Sun tribe. No way. The middle-aged man shouted, and his eyes were as gloomy as water. Qin Feiyang sneered, Do you think it's possible? You won't cry until you're in the coffin. The middle-aged man immediately turned hostile. A terrifying oppressive aura surged, pressing down on the man and the wolf. But at this moment, another wave of pressure descended upon him. Several figures broke through the air and entered the secret chamber one after another. The leader was the city lord of Sky Thunder City. Next was Luo Guang, the leader of the Black Tortoise tribe and the leader of the Su tribe. In addition to these four people, there were two more people. They were Mu Qing and her sister. Little Qin Zi, retreat. Wolf King shouted secretly. Don't worry. Qin Feiyang muttered. The middle-aged man and the high priest looked at each other and frowned slightly. Why were they all here? You're really here. I was wondering who had the guts to rob the treasures of our three tribes. So it's you, you little bastard. City Lord, now that we've caught him red-handed, please uphold justice for us. Luo Guang and the other two glared at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King, and their eyes flashed with shocking murderous intent. What? The middle-aged man and the high priest were stunned. Before coming to the Purple Sun tribe, this man and wolf had already robbed the treasures of the Black Tortoise tribe, Ming Wang tribe, and Su tribe? Were these two guys crazy? They were really not afraid of trouble at all. The city lord glanced at the empty treasure house and looked at Qin Feiyang, asking, You're Su Mu, and also Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang nodded. The city lord frowned and said again, Were you the one who robbed the treasures of the three tribes? Qin Feiyang nodded again. The city lord's brows were now tightly knitted as he said, Then why are you in the Purple Sun tribe now? City lord, look at the treasure house. There's not even a single gold coin. Isn't it obvious? Luo Guang said angrily. That's right, we don't even need to ask to know that he has already taken away the treasures of the Purple Sun tribe. They've already lost their minds and must be eliminated. The leaders of the Black Tortoise and Su tribe said coldly. All of you, shut up. The city lord roared and a shocking aura spread out invisibly. Everyone's pupils constricted and they fell silent. The city lord looked at Qin Feiyang and said, I want you to answer me personally. They're right. Qin Feiyang nodded. The city lord clenched his hands and asked, Mu Qing told me that before you left the Pill Pagoda, you went to find Shi Yun and the other three? Qin Feiyang's eyes narrowed and he turned to Mu Qing and her sister. He said, I've told you, don't meddle in my business. I don't want to meddle in it either, but I have no choice. Not long ago, the 3 leaders came to the Pill Pagoda in person to find the city lord, but they found that Shi Yun and the other 3 were missing. Since the city lord came to ask me and my sister, how could we dare to hide anything? We could only tell the truth. Brother Qin, you're really amazing. First, you took away the alchemy fire of the 4 tribes, and now you took away their treasures. I, Mu Qing, have never admired anyone. You're the first. Mu Qing said with a faint smile. Qin Feiyang said, then how did you know that I was in the Purple Sun tribe? It's very simple. Shi Yun is among the missing people. Shi Yun is the young master of the Purple Sun tribe. You definitely wouldn't let go of the treasures of the Purple Sun tribe. So, we rushed over immediately. As I expected, you're here. Mu Qing spoke frankly with a confident smile on his face. Amazing. Qin Feiyang gave him a thumbs up. Mu Qing smiled and said, you're flattering me. I'm just trying my best. Qin Dage, turn back quickly. With your talent, you'll definitely become an overlord in the future. Why ruin a good future for a moment of greed? Before we left, the pagoda master also told us. As long as you're willing to admit your mistakes, she'll let bygones be bygones. Chapter 400. Turn back. Qin Feiyang sneered. He had never dared to underestimate this pair of brother and sister. But now, he found that he still underestimated them. The city lord said in a deep voice, where are Qin Feiyang, Shi Yun and the others now? Qin Feiyang said, in my hands. Well, I won't say much nonsense. Let them go, return the treasure, and this matter will be over. You will still be the last disciple of the pagoda master. Otherwise, you can't escape today. The opportunity has been given to you. Cherish it. The city lord said. Opportunities are not given by others. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Stubborn. Luo Guang smiled coldly, and his pressure roared out, imprisoning Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. Qin Feiyang was about to enter the castle, but suddenly his eyes lit up. If it were someone else, facing the city lord and the 4 leaders at this moment, they would definitely panic. But Qin Feiyang found an opportunity at this critical moment. It was the opportunity for Wolf King to open the 4th level of the Gate of Potential. His eyes flashed, and he disappeared without a trace in an instant. Damn it. Little Qin Zi, you bastard, how dare you leave me alone? The Wolf King's eyes widened as it roared furiously. Where is he? At the same time, Mu Qing, his sister, and the city lord had a trace of surprise in their eyes. City lord, there is something you don't know. This Qin Feiyang can not only disappear into thin air, but also appear out of thin air. Last time when he went to my Black Tortoise tribe to snatch the elixir fire, he used this to escape. The Black Tortoise leader said. A trace of shock suddenly appeared on the city lord's face. Mu Qing and his sister looked at each other in disbelief. They didn't expect this person to have such an ability. The next moment, Qin Feiyang appeared again. Where did you go just now? Tell me the truth. Luo Guang shouted. Is it related to you? All you need to know is that your pressure is useless against me. Qin Feiyang sneered. Suddenly, he looked at the passage behind them and asked in surprise, Tower Master, why are you here? What? Tower Master. Everyone was shocked and quickly turned their heads to look. Open your mouth. In the meantime, Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice to Wolf King. Wolf King was stunned and opened his mouth suspiciously. With a wave of Qin Feiyang's hand, the potential pill flew into Wolf King's mouth at lightning speed. This is, immediately. Wolf King's spirits were lifted. It turned out that Qin Feiyang was not running away alone. He was looking for an opportunity to open the 4th level of the Gate of Potential. In the blink of an eye. All this happened in the blink of an eye. Where's the tower master? Why is there no one here? Seeing that there was no one behind them, the city lord and the others raised their eyebrows. Not good. We were fooled by him. Mu Qing shouted. They hurriedly turned back. However, seeing that the man and the wolf did not take the opportunity to escape, they could not help but be stunned. What the hell was this guy doing? Ow! All of a sudden, Wolf King howled. The energy of the potential pill began to take effect. Didn't you say that my pressure is useless against you? Seeing this, Luo Guang sneered. Your pressure can only deal with this wolf cub. Qin Feiyang smiled disdainfully. What a joke. Luo Guang laughed in anger. Bang! The pressure intensified like a torrent, pouncing towards Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. Qin Feiyang's face turned pale. His body also trembled. The Wolf King let out a heart-wrenching cry. His fur gradually cracked, and blood spurted out like a fountain. However, this was not caused by Luo Guang's pressure. It was because the energy of the potential pill was too overbearing and was about to tear its body apart. Release them immediately, hand over the treasures, kneel down and apologize to us. Otherwise, I will use my pressure to crush your bodies alive. Luo Guang laughed sinisterly. Qin Feiyang's face was ferocious as he provoked, then come and try. You are simply hopeless. Luo Guang was furious. The pressure of the 9-star war emperor erupted without reservation. Wolf King sent a sound transmission, Little Qin Z, it's not enough. Not enough? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed as he sneered, is this your pressure? It's nothing more than that. What? You still have the strength to be arrogant? Everyone, let's suppress him together and see how capable he is. Luo Guang shouted. The leader of the Black Tortoise tribe and the leader of the Ziyang tribe released their pressure at the same time and pounced towards the man and the wolf. Bang! As soon as the pressure descended, Wolf King's body suddenly exploded with a dull loud sound. As if he had broken some shackles, his glabella shone brightly. It was the potential imprint that was shining. That light was no longer red, it was dark red. This also meant that Wolf King had successfully opened the 4th level. What's going on? Everyone was shocked. Haha, Wolf King laughed wildly. Thank you. Qin Feiyang looked at Luo Guang and the other two and also revealed a bright smile. What do you mean? The three of them were a little confused. Why did it feel like this man and wolf had picked up a big bargain? It was also at this moment. Mu Qing's heart surged with a deep sense of uneasiness. It felt like something big was about to happen. Swish. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and a yellow pill appeared. It was the 9-chew yellow dragon pill. There were 5 pill patterns on it. A strong medicinal fragrance instantly filled the entire secret room. What? There are actually 5 pill patterns. Was this refined by him? Seeing the Juku yellow dragon pill, the group of people's hearts immediately set off stormy waves. Even the city lord was dumbfounded. No wonder the pagoda master valued him so much. It turned out that he could refine a medicinal pill with 5 pill patterns. What an astonishing talent in alchemy. In my life, this is the first time I've seen such a medicinal pill. The Purple Sun Tribe's high priest's eyes revealed a bright light and said with hurried breathing, Qin Feiyang, as long as you're willing to join my Purple Sun Tribe, we don't want those treasures, we'll give them all to you. The value of a medicinal pill with 5 pill patterns could no longer be measured with money. Even if they had to lose the entire Purple Sun Tribe, as long as they could exchange for this child's joining, it was worth it. Qin Feiyang glanced at the high priest and said, White-eyed wolf, what are you waiting for? Hee, this day has finally come. Wolf King jumped up, rolled his long tongue, and swept the Juku yellow dragon pill into his mouth. That pair of pitch-black eyes burst out with a bright light. What are they doing? Luo Guang frowned. Boom! Suddenly, a terrifying aura roared out from Wolf King's body. Following that, it soared all the way to the one-star combat emperor. But this was just the beginning. This, what's going on? That medicinal pill just now, could it be the same as the red fire-colored glass pill, increasing one's cultivation? Everyone's expression changed. Boom! In just a split second, the Wolf King's cultivation had risen to the level of a 2-star combat emperor. His aura was like a rainbow. At this moment, the secret chamber shook violently. Crack! Accompanied by a series of loud sounds, cracks continued to spread. Boom! Finally, the secret chamber collapsed. Pieces of gravel and pieces of snow poured down in torrents. The city lord waved his hand, rolled up Luo Guang and the others, and soared into the sky. Little Qin Zi, quickly come on my back. Wolf King shouted. His small body expanded in the wind, and in an instant, he became a behemoth that was more than 10 meters long. Qin Feiyang jumped up and landed on his back. Howl! Wolf King howled, his aura swept in all directions, and he turned into a stream of light and soared into the sky. As he soared into the sky, his aura soared to the 3-star combat emperor. How could this be? He has broken through 3 small realms in a row. Could it be that the medicinal pill he just took was some kind of divine pill? Luo Guang and the others glared at him. Even the city lord couldn't stay calm. We can't let him continue to break through like this. The Black Tortoise leader's eyes were filled with killing intent. He took a step forward in the air. His battle aura surged, and he threw a punch at Wolf King. Little Qin Zi, stand firm. Wolf King's eyes flashed fiercely, and he instantly disappeared from the Black Tortoise leader's sight. What a fast speed! The Black Tortoise leader's pupils contracted. This beast's speed was comparable to a 7-star combat emperor. Swoosh! He took a step forward and quickly chased after Qin Zi. Luo Guang's eyes were cold as he looked at the Purple Sun Tribe's leader and high priest. They won't join the Purple Sun Tribe. If we let them escape, without the support of the resources we have accumulated over the years, our position as the top 3 tribes will soon be replaced by other tribes. Think carefully about what to do. After Luo Guang finished speaking, he rushed out and intercepted Qin Feiyang and Wolf King from the right. The middle-aged man and the high priest looked at each other and intercepted them from the left. The Sioux tribe's leader didn't stay idle either. He followed behind the Black Tortoise leader and madly chased after them. Seeing this, Mu Shui'er turned to look at the city lord and frowned. City lord, what should we do now? Mu Qing said, Sister, it's his own fault for not cherishing this opportunity. He can't blame us. But, Mu Shui'er still wanted to say something. Mu Qing said angrily, that's enough. You can't even take care of your own matters. Do you have nothing better to do? After being reprimanded by Mu Qing, Mu Shui'er finally fell silent. At this moment, the city lord who had been silent all this time sighed and nodded. Mu Qing is right. He asked for it. Even if he is killed by the other leaders, he deserves it. Although he said so, there was a trace of pity in his eyes. Boom! At this moment, Wolf King's cultivation had another breakthrough. He was a 4-star combat emperor. However, his aura was still rising. Why hasn't it stopped yet? Is he going to defy the heavens? How can there be such a ridiculous thing in this world? The shock in everyone's heart could no longer be described with words. Luo Guang and the others' killing intent was getting stronger. The Black Tortoise leader shouted, Everyone, attack with all your might. Boom! 5 rays of battle chi appeared at the same time. Waves of world-destroying aura crazily rolled out. Crash! Boom! Accompanied by a series of loud noises, the 5 battle auras were like tsunamis in the ocean, rushing toward Qin Feiyang and Wolf King from all directions. Murderous aura filled the sky. Wolf King hurriedly said, Little Qin Zi, quickly go to the castle. What about you? Qin Feiyang frowned. Wolf King grinned and said, Don't worry, I won't die. Swoosh. Qin Feiyang flashed and disappeared without a trace. Almost in the next moment, Wolf King was mercilessly drowned by the battle auras. Suddenly, blood dyed the sky. Boom. But at this moment. Chapter 401. A Wu. At the same time. A wolf howl resounded through the sky. This aura, it has already broken through to the 5-star combat emperor. Luo Guang's group of 5, Mu Qing, Mu Shui, and the mayor were all dumbfounded. How was it possible to soar from the 9-star combat king to the 5-star combat emperor? Was this a dream? Slap. The leader of the Su tribe gave himself a hard slap. It hurt. It wasn't a dream. Die, all of you. Wolf King's angry roar suddenly rang out. Boom. The next moment. It rushed out from the battle chi. Its body was 15 to 16 meters long, like a mountain, hovering in the sky. That pair of fierce eyes was almost the size of a millstone, flashing with an astonishing fierce light. Its skin and flesh were lacerated all over its body, and blood flowed out, dyeing the void red. Swoosh. It glanced at everyone, and used the void escape step, heading straight for the leader of the Su tribe. Its speed was as fast as lightning. One had to know. The void escape step was a perfect battle art. Although it was only a 5-star combat emperor, it could unleash a speed comparable to a 9-star combat emperor. In a few blinks of an eye, it landed in front of the leader of the Su tribe. This person also had the strength of a 5-star combat emperor. However, when he saw Wolf King's fierce eyes, he was so scared that he fled for his life. How dare you attack me, how dare you? Go to hell. Wolf King roared angrily. Blood spurted out as it opened its mouth and directly bit off the head of the Su tribe's leader. He didn't even have time to scream before he breathed his last and fell to the ground. Blood spurted out from the bull-sized wound on his neck. Trash. Wolf King sneered and raised his head to look at the Mu Qing siblings. Immediately. The siblings couldn't help but feel cold all over. The siblings were very clear. Their actions had already angered this ferocious wolf. If it wasn't for the mayor, Wolf King's next target would probably be them. At the same time, Black Tortoise leader, Luo Guang, Ziyang tribe's leader, and high priest looked at the corpse of the Su tribe's leader and looked at each other. Killing intent filled their eyes. Boom. The 4 of them simultaneously activated their fighting souls and charged towards Wolf King. Since you want to die so badly, I'll fulfill your wish. Wolf King abruptly turned around, and a golden beast shadow appeared behind him. Strip. Following its roar, the 4 fighting souls were devoured by the beast in the blink of an eye. What? Why is this happening? Where's my battle soul? Why can't I sense it? The 4 of them were dumbfounded. Your fighting souls have been taken away by me. Wolf King grinned maliciously. He activated the void evasion step and appeared in front of the high priest in a few flickers. It opened its mouth and swallowed the high priest alive. The high priest was only a 5-star combat emperor. Wolf King's plan was to get rid of the 2 5-star combat emperors first and then slowly deal with the others. Bastard, I'll kill you. The chief of the Purple Sun tribe was furious. First, his fighting soul had been taken away, and now, the high priestess had been swallowed alive. This had driven him crazy. He threw a punch at Wolf King. The strength of a 9-star combat emperor was not reserved at all. Berserker's fury. Wolf King raised his head and roared. His chi rose crazily once again. At the same time, he had transformed into a muscular wolf. He stood high up in the sky like an ancient giant, causing the Mu Qing siblings in the distance to be frightened. They finally realized what kind of existence they had offended. Wolf King's claw struck out and collided with the fist of the chief of the Purple Sun tribe. Boom! Wolf King was sent flying on the spot. The skin on his claw was lacerated. The chief of the Purple Sun tribe only took a few steps back. However, in his heart, waves were surging. He was a 9-star combat emperor. As for Wolf King, even if his cultivation had increased by 5 small realms in a short period of time, he was only a 5-star combat emperor. However, the collision just now had actually forced him to retreat. How could his strength be so ridiculously strong? Luo Guang and the Black Tortoise commander were also in deep disbelief. I understand now. The city lord suddenly spoke, his eyes were filled with shock. What do you understand? The Mu Qing siblings were bewildered. Berserker's Fury is a superior combat art. Its footwork is a perfect auxiliary combat art. The city lord said in a deep voice. The siblings' eyes trembled. Luo Guang and the other two were even more shocked. Even for the 3 super tribes, the battle arts they had mastered were only of the medium grade. However, they did not expect that this beast not only mastered a superior combat art, but also a perfect auxiliary combat art. Unbelievable. What was the background of this Qin Feiyang? A ferocious beast beside him already had such an amazing combat art. Wouldn't he have mastered even more amazing combat arts? Boom! At this moment, Wolf King stabilized his huge body and glanced at Luo Guang and the other two. A 9-star combat emperor is just so. He grinned and swallowed a healing pill. The broken claw was immediately repaired at a speed visible to the naked eye. Extremely arrogant. The 3 of them were burning with anger and displayed their combat arts at the same time. Waves of shocking aura, like a torrent, crazily rolled out between heaven and earth. Kill! Following the 3 people's shout. The 3 major combat arts, with surging murderous intent, blasted towards Wolf King. You want to kill your brother with this little strength? Naive. Wolf King smiled disdainfully, using the void escape step. He appeared on the other side in a few flashes. Encircle and annihilate it. Luo Guang shouted angrily. The 3 of them turned into a stream of light and quickly surrounded Wolf King in the middle. There's no need for this. Come on, I'll fight with you. Wolf King's heroic spirit soared to the sky. His huge body crossed the sky and instantly landed in front of the Black Tortoise leader. A man and a wolf collided with each other. Wolf King was sent flying on the spot, spitting out blood. So what if you're a 9-star combat emperor? I'll kill all of you today. Wolf King laughed wildly. The injury would not make him timid, it would only make him crazier and crazier. Roar. Boom. He was like a ferocious beast, crazily fighting with the 3 people. Blood flowed and dyed the sky red. Not good. Mu Qing frowned. Although Luo Guang and the other 2 were 9-star combat emperors and had mastered mid-tier combat arts, they did not have any auxiliary combat arts. Although Wolf King's strength was weaker than the 3 of them, the perfect auxiliary combat arts it had mastered were enough to keep its speed on par with the 3 of them. Facing the bombardment of the 3 people's combat arts, it could easily dodge them every time. Although it was at a disadvantage, Luo Guang and the other 2 were unable to cause fatal damage to it. There was one more point. The healing pill that the Wolf King had consumed had 2 pill veins. The healing pill of Luo Guang and the other 2 only had 1 pill pattern. Moreover, the pill patterns were still very blurry. The medicinal effect was naturally not as good as the healing pill with 2 pill patterns. More importantly, Wolf King was too ferocious, he was playing with his life. That astonishing battle intent was endless, oppressing the 3 of them to the point that they almost couldn't breathe. As time passed, seeing that they couldn't take down Wolf King, the 3 of them began to become a little impatient. Moreover, Wolf King's combat awareness and instincts were something that the 3 of them couldn't compare to. If this trend continued, the situation that was supposed to be a sure win would definitely be reversed. Sure enough. The chief of Ziyang tribe was slightly careless and Wolf King seized the opportunity to slap his head with his claw. Ah! Accompanied by a shrill scream, like a meteorite, it crashed into the glacier below. Boom! The glacier suddenly collapsed. Damn it! We 3 9-star combat emperors joined forces and we couldn't even defeat a beast. This is a great humiliation. Luo Guang and the Black Tortoise Chief roared again and again. Battle chi and battle arts, they all rushed towards Wolf King. Old man, the show has only just begun. Wolf King used the void evasion step, dodging the attack of the battle arts and madly rushed towards Luo Guang. The millstone's eyes were suffused with a bloodthirsty radiance. Its entire body was covered in blood. A few wounds were so deep that the bones could be seen. If it was someone else or any other beast, they would have already collapsed after suffering such heavy injuries. However, Wolf King's aura was even more astonishing. It was like a fighting machine that didn't know fatigue or pain. Seeing Wolf King rushing towards him, Luo Guang's heart was filled with an indescribable sense of fear. He turned his head to look at the city lord and roared, "City lord, please help me." The city lord frowned slightly. Boom! An astonishing aura, like a volcanic eruption, roared out from his body. In the end, he still chose to make a move. "Beast, your end is here." The chief of Ziyang tribe rushed out from the broken glacier below with a murderous aura all over his body. His head was broken. Blood flowed down and dyed his face red, making him look extremely ferocious at this moment. At the same time, Luo Guang and the Black Tortoise Chief were also full of confidence. As long as the city lord made a move, only death would await this beast today. Whoever dares to move, I will kill them. At this moment, a cold voice came from below. "Who dares to threaten us? Are you courting death?" Luo Guang shouted. Everyone looked down and their expressions suddenly changed. They saw Qin Feiyang standing on an ice peak with 4 young people lying at his feet. It was Shi Yun and the other 3. Qin Feiyang shouted, "White-eyed wolf, come down quickly. We never play games that we are not confident in." Wolf King chuckled, turned into the size of a palm, swooped down, landed on Qin Feiyang's shoulder, and then took a healing pill. "Game?" The city lord frowned and said in a deep voice, "For you, is this just a game?" Qin Feiyang said, "Regardless of whether it is a game or not, if you don't want them to lose their lives, stand there and don't move." Luo Guang and the other 2 had already swooped down, but when they heard this, they stopped in unison and looked at the city lord. The city lord was very angry and said angrily, "Qin Feiyang, don't be stubborn. Don't worry, I won't mess around in the future. Because all of this has nothing to do with me." Qin Feiyang glanced at the few people, waved his hand, and a portal quickly opened. Boom! However, at this moment, a terrifying aura descended upon the place. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King were immediately imprisoned in the void. This time, they were really imprisoned. Swish! A graceful woman appeared out of thin air in the sky. Her black hair was like a waterfall, her long skirt fluttered, and her eyes were as cold as ice, like an ice fairy that descended to the mortal world. She was the Pagoda Master. Greetings, Pagoda Master. Chapter 402. The Pagoda Master glanced at the 3 of them and then looked down at Qin Feiyang. "I'll give you another chance. Let them go and return the treasures of the 4 tribes. I'll think about it and give you a lighter punishment," she said with a straight face. There was a trace of disappointment in her dark eyes. Qin Feiyang said, "What if I say no? I'll kill you now. I'll give you 3 breaths to make a decision." The Pagoda Master said. 3 breaths passed in the blink of an eye. Seeing that Qin Feiyang didn't answer, the Pagoda Master didn't continue to talk nonsense and pointed her index finger in the air. A wave of battle chi emerged and rolled toward Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. Seeing this, A cold smile crept onto the faces of Luo Guang and the others. This was the result of being stubborn. Boom! However, at this time, a white figure suddenly appeared in front of Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. She was also a woman. She was also wearing a black mask on her face, covering her true face. As soon as she appeared, she waved her hand and a wave of battle chi went against the current and collided with the pagoda master's battle chi. Boom! At this moment, an earth-shattering noise suddenly resounded in this place. What? So strong. Seeing this, everyone present was extremely shocked. Who was this masked woman? She could compete with the pagoda master. Go. The masked woman looked up at the pagoda master, her eyes as calm as water, and said to Qin Feiyang without looking back, go. This voice, Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled. He was too familiar with this voice. It was the madam of the Meng family lurking in White Fox City. Wolf King shouted, Little Qin Zi, what are you waiting for? Go. Qin Feiyang shivered, glanced at Mu Qing and her brother, then turned and plunged into the portal. The next moment, the portal disappeared. The pagoda master frowned and looked at the middle-aged woman, saying, Who are you? It has nothing to do with you. The middle-aged woman said indifferently, then turned around and left. You want to leave? Not so easy. A cold light flashed in the pagoda master's eyes. He turned into a flash of light and chased after them. The city lord and the others also quickly landed on the ice peak. Looking at the unconscious Shi Yun and the other three who didn't even look human anymore, their faces were as dark as water. Mu Qing's heart also felt heavy. It turned out that there was such a big shot behind Qin Feiyang. No wonder he dared to be so unbridled. Mu Shui whispered, Brother, we really shouldn't meddle in his business. What's done is done. What's the use of regretting it now? Besides, I don't regret it. As long as I can gain the Tower Master's trust, I won't hesitate to offend Qin Feiyang, even if I have to offend everyone in the world. Mu Qing clenched her fists, and her eyes were filled with determination. At the same time, Qin Feiyang was standing on the shore of a frozen lake. This was the place where he landed when he first arrived at the Forgotten Land. Wolf King stood on his shoulder and asked in confusion, Little Qin Zi, why did that woman suddenly appear? How would I know? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at it. If he knew, he wouldn't be so surprised. Damn it, what is this Forgotten Land? It's only been such a short time, and we've already met two existences that surpass the War Emperor. Do you think we'll meet even stronger people if we continue to go deeper? Wolf King said. Who knows? Let's not care about that. We're leaving soon anyway. The pagoda master and the madam have nothing to do with us. Qin Feiyang smiled and threw away all the doubts in his head. He scanned the surroundings, looking for an exit. However, as far as his eyes could see, there was only ice. He didn't find anything suspicious. Brother, let's go up and take a look. Wolf King flew into the sky and stood 10,000 feet high, looking down below. A moment later, it landed on Qin Feiyang's shoulder and shook its head. I don't see any altars or portals. Qin Feiyang frowned and said, could it be covered by the snow? Wolf King said, I'm thinking, did you guess wrong? Maybe the exit isn't here at all? That shouldn't be possible. It's definitely not a coincidence that we landed here. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Aren't there water beasts in this frozen lake? Let's get them out and ask. Wolf King waved its claws and a wave of battle chi rushed out and blasted into the frozen lake, immediately setting off a huge wave more than 10 meters high. Dong! Roar! In the next moment, one by one, huge water beasts rushed out of the water. A terrifying aura instantly enveloped the entire area. The 3 snow pythons that had almost killed Qin Feiyang back then were also among them. Those water beasts also recognized Qin Feiyang at a glance. They immediately opened their bloody mouths and revealed their dense fangs, pouncing towards Qin Feiyang. "You're courting death." Wolf King's eyes turned cold and its aura exploded. The group of water beasts stopped in unison and immediately turned around, fleeing towards the frozen lake in fear. Wolf King was stunned. These little reptiles couldn't stand being scared, right? Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. He glanced at the frozen lake and said, "Let's go to the bottom of the lake and take a look." Wolf King was stunned and said disdainfully, "Are you an idiot? The lake is full of water. How can the exit be in the water? The point is, when I entered the Forgotten Land, I fell into the frozen lake," Qin Feiyang said. "Then, all right, it won't take much time anyway." Wolf King waved its claws, and Battle Chi emerged, condensing into a Battle Chi boundary. It brought Qin Feiyang into the frozen lake. Those water beasts were all hiding under the water, waiting for an opportunity to move. Seeing a man and a wolf enter the frozen lake, they immediately fled in panic. Seeing this scene, Qin Feiyang was filled with emotions. 7 months ago, it was him and Fatso who fled for their lives. 7 months later, they came here again, but the ones who fled were these water beasts. In just a few months, except for the pangolin, everyone's strength had undergone earth-shaking changes. Especially Wolf King, who could even fight against a 9-star combat emperor. When he returned to the state capital, who knew how many jaws would drop? A moment later, a man and a wolf sank to the bottom of the lake. The bottom of the lake was filled with mud and gravel. After being stirred up by the water beasts, it became very turbid. Wolf King said angrily, "How are we going to find it?" Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "Let's wait until the lake water clears up." Immediately, one man and one wolf stayed at the bottom of the lake, quietly waiting. Hundreds of breaths passed. The lake water finally became much clearer, and one could see 2 to 3 meters away. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King began to search at the bottom of the lake. The water beasts had all run to the surface of the water. Except for one man and one wolf, there were no other creatures at the bottom of the lake. It was silent. Soon, they searched the bottom of the lake, but found nothing. Wolf King said, "No wonder, the exit can't be underwater." Qin Feiyang frowned and said, "Look again." One man and one wolf searched the bottom of the lake again, but still found nothing. Wolf King said helplessly, "Give up now." Qin Feiyang stood on a pile of gravel, his brows tightly knitted. If the exit was not here, then it would be troublesome. The Forgotten Land was vast and boundless. Finding an exit was like finding a needle in a haystack. Wolf King suddenly said, "Little Qin Zi, what if there is no exit?" Qin Feiyang's eyes trembled, and he shouted in a low voice, "Shut up." He didn't want to be trapped in this place for the rest of his life. Suddenly, the gravel under his feet moved. Qin Feiyang was shocked and hurriedly looked down, but there was nothing unusual. Was it an illusion? Just when he was about to believe that it was an illusion, the gravel under his feet moved again. What's going on? Wolf King also noticed it, and his eyes were full of surprise. Qin Feiyang swallowed his saliva and bent down to grab the gravel. But at this moment, all the gravel began to move. Wolf King hurriedly took Qin Feiyang and retreated. Crash. Bang. 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 Just as they retreated, the pile of gravel collapsed in an instant and rolled to both sides. Pieces of mud rose and dyed the lake water extremely muddy. A man and a wolf caught a white shadow in the muddy water. At the same time, there was a rumbling sound. But soon, the movement disappeared. The mud in the lake water also slowly settled. When the lake water cleared and they saw what was in front of them, Qin Feiyang and Wolf King couldn't help but change their expressions. Between the mud and gravel, there was a huge monster lying quietly. It was the head of a snow python. But compared to the 3 they encountered before, this snow python was much bigger. Its head was as thick as a dustpan. They didn't know the length because they could only see 3 or 4 meters away. However, judging from its sturdy body, this snow python was definitely not less than 10 meters long. Little Qin Zi, I can't see through this guy's cultivation. Wolf King transmitted his voice. His tone was very serious. This snow python didn't emit any aura. If they didn't see it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have noticed it here. However, it gave Qin Feiyang and Wolf King an extremely strong sense of danger. Qin Feiyang observed for a moment. He found that the snow python's eyes were closed and it was motionless. Its breathing and heartbeat were also very stable. Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice, it should be sleeping. It just turned over. Wolf King heaved a sigh of relief and said to himself, this guy's strength has obviously surpassed the War Emperor. Don't you think it's strange that it's hiding here? Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat as he asked in surprise, what do you mean? What could it be guarding? It's even possible that there's some treasure hidden here. At the mention of treasures, the Wolf King's eyes glowed green. Treasure? Qin Feiyang glanced at the snow python, his eyes flickering. What are you thinking about? Hurry up and find it. The Wolf King urged, his saliva dripping down. Okay, let's find it. Qin Feiyang nodded. It was better to believe it than not to believe it. What if there was really some treasure? A man and a wolf followed the snow python's huge body and searched all the way down. They found the snow python's tail. In the end, they didn't find anything except gravel and mud. You dare to make me happy for nothing? Wolf King was very unhappy. He slapped the snow python's tail with his claws. The snow python's huge body suddenly shook. Its huge tail suddenly rose and swept towards the man and the wolf. Qin Feiyang's expression changed. He hurriedly took Wolf King to hide in the castle. After entering the castle, Qin Feiyang glared at Wolf King. Was this thing something they could provoke? Chapter 403. Wolf King also realized that he had made a big mistake. He smiled embarrassedly. I was impulsive and couldn't hold back. Sorry. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and listened carefully to the movements outside. Boom! A loud noise came into the castle. It must be the sound of the snow python's huge tail hitting the bottom of the lake. Then, it was quiet outside. It seems that it didn't wake up. Qin Feiyang whispered. It made sense. For such a huge creature, Wolf King's claw just now was just tickling it. Don't mess around. After waiting for a while, Qin Feiyang warned Wolf King and appeared at the bottom of the lake again with Wolf King. A pitch-black ditch immediately entered their line of sight. It was obviously caused by the snow python's huge tail. Qin Feiyang looked at the ditch and his pupils shrank slightly. He whispered, let's go up quickly. Let's look again. Wolf King was a little unwilling. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel helpless. A man and a wolf followed the snow python's huge tail and came to the side of the snow python's head. It seems that I really thought too much. Wolf King shook his head and sighed. With eyes full of disappointment, he rolled up Qin Feiyang and swept towards the surface of the water. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang shouted, wait! Wolf King's eyes lit up and said excitedly, did you find some treasure? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes. If this goes on, this ruffian wolf will definitely become a little money grubber. He lowered his head and looked at the ground next to the snow python's head. Just now when Wolf King hit it with his claw, it turned over again. The place that was originally blocked by its head was now completely exposed. There was still a layer of mud on the ground. However, in the middle of the mud, there was a very neat square mark. Qin Feiyang looked at it and felt a little strange. If it was accidentally caused, the shape wouldn't be so neat. Qin Feiyang whispered, let's go down and take a look. The Wolf King landed in front of the mark with him. Qin Feiyang bent down and wiped off the mud on his clothes. His eyes suddenly lit up. He hurriedly stretched out his other hand and used both hands to carefully scrape away the mud. What are you doing? Wolf King was puzzled. Shoo! Qin Feiyang made a shushing gesture. When all the sludge was cleared, a secret door entered his sight. There's actually another secret. Wolf King's eyes widened and his saliva flowed out. Needless to say, there must be some kind of treasure hidden under this secret door. Qin Feiyang glanced at the secret door and then glanced at the snow python. He seemed to have understood something. The snow python's head was pressed against the secret door. After 2 flips, the secret door was exposed. At the same time, because he flipped over, he stirred up the mud in other places. When the sludge settled down and landed on the secret door, it formed a mark around the edges of the secret door. In other words, if Wolf King hadn't patted it with his paw, this secret door would have been sealed at the bottom of the lake forever. He didn't expect that the ruffian wolf, who almost caused a disaster, would be a great help instead. What are you thinking? Go down quickly. Wolf King said impatiently. What's the hurry? What if it's not a treasure but a devil's den below? If we rush in like this, won't we be courting death? Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice. You're so long-winded. Wolf King pushed him away. He clasped the edge of the secret door with his paw and pulled it up forcefully. The secret door suddenly opened. It was pitch black inside. Splash! The lake water, mixed with mud, poured into it. At the same time, the snow python next to him also suddenly opened its eyes. Its eyes were extremely gloomy and cold. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but feel his scalp numb. He went into the secret door without hesitation. Wolf King also followed closely behind. After a man and a wolf went in, the secret door was closed with a bang under the water pressure. Bang! In the endless darkness, Qin Feiyang suddenly felt that he had fallen onto a hard rock. All the bones in his body were about to fall apart. He was extremely sore. It's so soft. What the hell is this? The Wolf King's bewildered voice reverberated in the air. It meant that this was a sealed space. Nonsense. You're on top of me. Of course it's soft. Qin Feiyang's angry roar followed. Sorry, I didn't mean to use you as a meat cushion. Wolf King laughed. He waved his paw and a golden battle aura emerged, shining in all directions. What entered their sight was a cave. It was very humid and cold. It gave off a gloomy feeling. And at the top of the cave, which was dozens of meters high, they could clearly see a secret door. At the edge of the secret door, there was still residual lake water dripping down continuously. Why didn't that snow python come in? Wolf King stood on Qin Feiyang's chest. He looked up at the secret door with a surprised expression. Can you go down first? Qin Feiyang said angrily. Did he not see that he was still lying on the ground with his limbs spread out? Hey, sorry. Wolf King grinned and jumped to the ground. Qin Feiyang got up. His flaming battle aura surged and evaporated the lake water on his body. At the same time, the Wolf King turned around and looked behind him. His eyes were immediately stunned. He stretched out his little paw and pulled Qin Feiyang's pants. Little Qin Z, look at that. What is that? What? Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. Could there be some ferocious beasts lurking here? He slowly turned around to look. At that moment, his face was filled with ecstasy. It was not a ferocious beast. This was the bottom of the cave. It was about 100 feet deep. And dozens of meters in front of him, which was the center of the cave, stood a blood-red altar. That altar, whether it was size or shape, was exactly the same as the altar in Butterfly Valley. In other words, this was most likely the exit. Damn it. Suddenly, Wolf King roared. Qin Feiyang was shocked and hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? Why is there no treasure? Isn't it equivalent to working hard for half a day in vain?" Wolf King said angrily. A row of black lines suddenly appeared on Qin Feiyang's forehead. "I'll endure it." He took a deep breath and walked to the blood-red altar, frowning slightly. He remembered that before coming here, the ugly old woman used battle aura to revive. And at that time, she looked very strained. The ugly old woman was very strong, but even she was having such a hard time. With his and the Wolf King's strength, would they be able to revive the altar? Qin Feiyang looked at Wolf King and said angrily, "Don't look like you're half dead. Hurry up and try. Can you revive the altar?" Wolf King pursed its lips, and its eyes suddenly lit up. "Little Qin Zi, the snow python is so strong. It must have treasures on it. Why don't we wait until we get its treasures before leaving?" it said excitedly. Qin Feiyang immediately gave it a knock on the head and shouted, "Hurry up. You know how strong the snow python is, but you still want to provoke it? Are you tired of living? Boring." Wolf King groaned and walked to the altar. With a wave of its little paw, battle aura emerged and flowed toward the altar. The altar suddenly emitted a ray of blood light. But it was still far from being revived. 100 breaths passed. The altar was still not fully revived. "I'm the peerless wolf god. Can't I do anything to you?" Wolf King also became angry. The battle aura in its sea of qi poured out without reservation. However, the blood-colored altar still could not be completely revived. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Flaming battle aura, purple gold dragon aura, and red sword aura all emerged and rushed toward the altar. At the same time. With a thought, he took Fatso and the pangolin out and shouted, "Help!" The man and the beast glanced at the underground cave in surprise and were about to ask, but when they heard Qin Feiyang's words, they immediately mobilized their battle aura and poured it into the altar. Another 100 breaths passed. Qin Feiyang and Fatso's faces began to turn pale. Wolf King and the pangolin also showed a trace of weakness in their eyes. Fatso shouted, "Boss, it's not working. With our strength, there's no way to revive it. What should we do?" Wolf King and the pangolin were also a little out of their wits. Boom! All of a sudden, a muffled noise came from above the secret door. The two men and two beasts looked over at the same time. "Get out of the way immediately and I'll spare your life." All of a sudden, a woman's angry shout came in. "It's her." Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. This was the madam's voice. Fatso said in surprise, "How did she find this place?" Qin Feiyang frowned. This matter was indeed a little strange. He did not tell anyone that he came here. Logically speaking, this woman should definitely not know his whereabouts. This is a forbidden area, no trespassing, scram. At this moment, another woman's voice sounded, filled with a supreme majesty. "Who is this?" Wolf King was shocked. This was not the madam's voice, nor was it the pagoda master's voice. Could it be that somewhere in the ice lake, there was still a peerless powerhouse lurking? Qin Feiyang said, "Don't care who it is, hurry up and revive the altar." If they were caught by the madam, they would probably never have the chance to leave the forgotten land. However, their battle chi was about to be exhausted, and they could not completely revive the altar. The pangolin said anxiously, "Qin Feiyang, hurry up and think of a way, I don't want to die here." "Yeah." Fatso shouted, "Fat Lord is not married yet, we can't let him fall into the hands of that woman." "Shut up." Qin Feiyang shouted, countless thoughts flashing through his mind. Boom! Bang bang bang! Outside, a series of earth-shattering noises kept coming in. The underground cave trembled violently. "I don't know if this method will work," Qin Feiyang mumbled. With a wave of his hand, a battle chi pill appeared, shining with a dazzling light, and flew toward the altar. The energy of the battle chi pill could replenish battle chi. Perhaps it could also be used to revive the altar. Under Qin Feiyang's nervous gaze, the battle chi pill landed on the altar and immediately shattered, turning into a pure energy that was absorbed by the altar. It works. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up, and he shouted, "Hurry up and throw in all your battle chi pills." Hearing that, Fatso and Wolf King took out their battle chi pills. There were 5 elixir patterns. There was 1 elixir pattern. There were also those without elixir patterns. The battle chi pills without elixir patterns were all looted from the treasure vault of the trading pavilion, the He tribe, and the Lu tribe. There were a total of 300,000 to 400,000. A large number of them were thrown toward the altar. Buzz! The blood-colored altar shone brightly in an instant, and finally fully revived. Chapter 404. Just as Qin Feiyang and the others stepped onto the blood-colored altar, the secret door at the top of the stone cave opened. The lake water poured down. A white figure descended into the grotto. It was that mysterious lady. She looked at the altar, then looked at Qin Feiyang and the others, and said gloomily, "Where do you want to go?" Qin Feiyang and the others did not answer. The blood-red light of the altar shone brightly, and their figures were quickly fading. "Looks like I've cultivated a few white-eyed wolf. Since that's the case, I'll kill you with my own hands." The lady was furious, her index finger pointed in the air, and battle chi gushed out from her fingertip. "Quick, quick, quick!" Qin Feiyang was anxious. He wished he could be teleported away immediately. At this moment, the secret door opened again. A white light flashed into the grotto. It was a snow python. But it was only as thick as an arm and a meter long. Its entire body was snow white, as if it was carved from a piece of jade, shining with a hazy light. "Trespassers will be killed without mercy." The snow python roared, and rushed towards the lady like lightning. "It's her voice?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. So the second voice that sounded out before was this snow python. The lady's gaze darkened, and she had to change her target, pointing at the snow python. Battle chi was like a rainbow, and it collided with the snow python. At the same time, Qin Feiyang and the others' figures completely faded, and disappeared without a trace. The light of the blood-red altar also quickly dimmed. "Damn it!" Seeing this, the lady cursed, looked at the snow python, and said angrily, "Why didn't you stop them? Although they sneaked in while I was asleep, they didn't force their way in like you did. Moreover, they're not from the Forgotten Continent. Leaving is only a matter of time." The snow python said coldly. "What? Not from the Forgotten Continent?" The lady's gaze trembled, and said in surprise, "Could they be from that continent?" "That's right. I know your identity. I don't want to target you now. Leave quickly." The snow python said. The madam's pupils shrank. She took a deep look at the blood-colored altar, then turned into a stream of light, opened the secret door, and quickly left. "Qin Feiyang, what an interesting little fellow, but if I'm targeted by this woman, I won't have any peaceful days in the future," the snow python muttered to itself. With a glint in its eyes, it left the cave as well. Soon, the cave fell into a deathly silence. Meanwhile, above the grove in Butterfly Valley, Qin Feiyang, Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin appeared out of nowhere. Wolf King waved its claws and released its battle aura, lifting Qin Feiyang and the others into the air. Looking at the familiar scene below, he could not help but feel joy in his eyes. Fortunately, the snow python came in time. Otherwise, the situation would have been very bad. But suddenly, Qin Feiyang remembered the ugly old woman and shouted at Wolf King, "Retreat! Retreat?" Wolf King was stunned for a moment before he understood. He immediately turned around and flew towards the sea of flowers. "Even if you don't want to see me, you should at least say hello before leaving." But at this time, the hoarse voice of a figure sounded. Following closely, The ugly old woman rushed out of the grove and stood in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Damned old witch! Wolf King cursed in his heart, then quickly turned around and fled towards the back. The ugly old woman sneered, Qin Feiyang, don't you want the antidote? Wolf King roared, want your sister, scram as far as you can. Shwa! The ugly old woman flashed a few times and stood in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Her eyes were filled with ridicule. Fuck, are you done yet? Wolf King was furious. He turned in the air and continued to flee. Qin Feiyang sighed, stop, you won't be able to escape. Wolf King stopped in mid-air, glared at the ugly old woman, and shouted, old witch, brother is telling you, don't go too far. The ugly old woman said, cut the crap, hand over the heavenly thunder flame. I didn't get it. Qin Feiyang shook his head. The ugly old woman frowned and said in a deep voice, you really didn't get it? Or do you want to take it for yourself? The owner of the heavenly thunder flame is an expert that surpasses the war emperor. How do you want us to snatch it? If you have the ability, then go. Ugly people do more strange things. This sentence is indeed true. Qin Feiyang shouted angrily. His face was full of ridicule. Without the black fiend poison, he wasn't afraid of this old witch. Do you want to die? The ugly old woman's gaze turned cold. Qin Feiyang sneered, I want to, but do you have the ability? The ugly old woman stared at him gloomily, and suddenly laughed. If you don't bring back the heavenly thunder flame, then don't get the antidote. TSK, who cares about your antidote? Fatso disdained. Wolf King waved his claws and said impatiently, don't waste your breath with her, just send a message to little girl Ren and ask her grandfather to come and save us. The ugly old woman's eyes flashed, and she asked, you really didn't get the heavenly thunder flame? Even if I did, I wouldn't give it to you. Qin Feiyang shrugged his shoulders. You have a personality, kid. In that case, you've also cured the black fiend poison? The ugly old woman said. Qin Feiyang nodded, that's right, what else can you use to threaten me now? Hee, the ugly old woman laughed. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. Was this old witch stupid? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened a teleportation gate. The two men and two beasts rushed in at lightning speed, and the next moment, they appeared in a valley. We've finally escaped. Fatso, Wolf King, and the pangolin immediately collapsed to the ground, patting their chests with lingering fear. Qin Feiyang also heaved a long sigh of relief. The ugly old woman was too strong. If they had not escaped in time, they would have been trapped in the Butterfly Valley for the rest of their lives. Fatso got up, looked around, and asked suspiciously, where is this? Don't you remember? This is the lair of the pangolin. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. This was where they found the pangolin back then. If they had not come to look for the pangolin back then, none of this would have happened. For a moment, Fatso was also filled with emotions. Wolf King soared into the air and looked in the direction of the city. A fierce light flashed in his eyes as he sneered, it's time to go back and deal with the Dong family. Little follower, see you later. The pangolin hurriedly said, don't, this king will follow you in the future. In your dreams. Fatso glanced at it with disdain. If it weren't for the potential pill, this guy might have slipped away long ago. Brother Qin Dage, my dear big brother, can you be so merciful and do a good deed and take me in? Wolf King and Fatso both disagreed. The pangolin could only run to Qin Feiyang and hug Qin Feiyang's thigh, looking at him with tears in his eyes. Qin Feiyang's face twitched, and said with a straight face, didn't you think of ways to escape? At that time, this king was blind. More importantly, this king didn't have any feelings for you at that time. But after 7 months of being together, this king realized that I can't leave you. The pangolin said with snot and tears. Like a child about to be abandoned, he looked extremely pitiful. Keep pretending, keep pretending. Do you think we're idiots? Who doesn't know that you can't leave the potential pill? Wolf King and Fatso rolled their eyes. He kept saying, gentlemen, all day long, but he was actually more cunning than anyone else. I'm not talking to you, why are you interrupting? His lie was exposed, and the pangolin could not help but stare at the man and wolf angrily. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment and nodded. It's not impossible to take you in. The pangolin perked up and hurriedly said, what are your conditions? Just say it. I don't care how you usually mess around, but when your life is at stake, you have to be with us and advance and retreat together. Qin Feiyang said. The pangolin patted his chest and said solemnly, of course. It's useless to say this. I want to see your actions in the future. You have to remember this. If I can nurture you, I can also destroy you. Qin Feiyang said. The pangolin shrunk his neck and nodded. If there comes a day when this king really betrays everyone, you don't have to be polite. Just kill this king directly. If that really happens, it would be too easy for you to just kill you directly. At that time, you will have a taste of what it means to live a life worse than death. Wolf King sneered. No resentment, no regrets. The pangolin nodded and said firmly, word by word. All right then, go into seclusion in the castle and break through to the 9-star battle monarch realm before coming out. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the pangolin into the castle. Fatso said, boss, how do you plan to deal with the Dong family? Wolf King shouted, nonsense, of course I'll kill them all. Do you think it's realistic? Fatso rolled his eyes. No matter how wrong the Dong family was, it was still one of the most powerful families in the city. Even if the mansion master agreed, they did not have the ability to do so. Let's ask about the situation first. Qin Feiyang took out the image crystal and sent a message to Yan Nanshan. Soon, Yan Nanshan's illusory figure appeared. Seeing that it was Qin Feiyang, Yan Nanshan immediately roared, bastard, you still know to send me a message. Qin Feiyang smiled embarrassedly. What are you laughing at? Is it very funny? You've been missing for 7 months. Do you know how worried I was? I was afraid that something would happen to you. Every morning, I would send you a message on time. What are you doing? Why don't you respond and tell me that you're safe? Are you that busy? Yan Nanshan immediately let loose a torrent of curses. Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. He did not interrupt. He would talk after Yan Nanshan was done scolding him. In fact, he was very touched in his heart. Because the more Yan Nanshan scolded him, the more it meant that he cared about him. After scolding him for more than 100 breaths, Yan Nanshan finally calmed down and asked, tell me, where have you been for the past 7 months? It's a long story. When I return to the sacred palace, I'll tell you slowly. Tell me about the Dong family first. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. The Dong family has been causing trouble for 2 months. Seeing that you didn't appear for a long time, they slowly stopped. Now everyone thinks that you're dead. The treasure pavilion has already cancelled the ban on the Lu family. But now that you've suddenly appeared, I'm afraid the Dong family will cause trouble again. Yan Nanshan looked a little worried. Chapter 405. Seeing Qin Feiyang so confident, Yan Nanshan let out a sigh of relief and asked, do you have a plan? Qin Feiyang replied, Uncle Yan, I want you to spread the news of my appearance. Spread? Yan Nanshan frowned. It's not to spread, just to tell Steward Dong. At this point, Qin Feiyang hesitated for a bit, then smiled faintly, forget it, I'll arrange it myself. You just wait for my good news in the temple. Yan Nanshan rolled his eyes, what a flaunting brat. But then again, I don't have time to meddle in your business. No time? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Wasn't managing the resource hall very free? Yan Nanshan replied, you still don't know, but the temple's great gathering has already begun. I have to supervise them. The temple's great gathering? Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and Wolf King looked at each other, their eyes full of doubt. What kind of competition is this? Didn't it start a month ago? Why hasn't it ended yet? Qin Feiyang asked suspiciously. How can it be so fast? All temple's disciples can participate, but there's only one arena. The top 100 have only just been decided. I'm afraid it'll be half a month before the end of the competition. Right, the rewards this time are pretty good. Why don't you all participate too? Yan Nanshan said. Fatso's eyes lit up, asking, what rewards? First place, a potential pill. Second place, a high-grade auxiliary battle art. Third place, a high-grade slaughter battle art. Fourth to 10th place, all of them are mid-grade battle arts. And the top 10, as long as they break through to the Combat Emperor stage, can directly enter the Inner Temple. That's equivalent to getting a reserved spot in the Inner Temple in advance. Yan Nanshan smiled. Wolf King said disdainfully, TCH, and I thought it was some kind of reward? Fatty chimed in, that's more like it's enough to get rid of beggars. Yan Nanshan's face twitched. You're not satisfied with a superior battle art? Qin Feiyang asked, where did the potential pill come from? Didn't you give Zhenbao Pavilion 2 last time? The Lu family got one, and so did our temple. Yan Nanshan said. Fatso pursed his lips and said, it's something that we don't want, but they treat it as a treasure. How funny. Yan Nanshan could not help but smile bitterly. The potential elixir was something that even he yearned for, let alone the disciples of the temple. However, the three little bastards had looks of disdain on their faces. How could he, and the rest of the world, endure such an attitude? Yan Nanshan said helplessly, this is too much of a blow. I'm not going to talk to you guys anymore. If there's anything, send me a message. Qin Feiyang hurriedly said, Uncle Yan, wait a moment. Give me the coordinates of the Dong family. Coordinates? Yan Nanshan looked at him suspiciously. After telling Qin Feiyang the coordinates, he turned off the image crystal. Fatso chuckled, then suddenly frowned and asked, Boss, didn't you give Yan Nanshan the potential elixir? Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said, I think I only gave him the Juku Yellow Dragon elixir. I didn't give him the potential elixir. He's so good to us. Now that we can't use up the potential elixir, we might as well help him open the door of potential. Fatso said. I wouldn't agree with the others, but I agree with Yan Nanshan. Wolf King said. I didn't think of it before. When we go back, I'll give it to him immediately. Qin Feiyang nodded. Speaking of this, he suddenly thought of someone. Battle Qi surged into the image crystal. Soon, a beautiful figure appeared. She was Ren Wuxuang. As soon as she saw Qin Feiyang, Ren Wuxuang's beautiful eyes widened. She said in surprise, Feiyang, is it really you? Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Sis, it's only been a few months since we last met. Why don't you recognize me? Bastard brat, Ren Wuxuang was furious. Without a doubt. Qin Feiyang was fiercely reprimanded again. A moment later. Qin Feiyang looked at Ren Wuxuang helplessly and said, Sis, are you done scolding? If you're done scolding, let's talk about business. Not enough. Tell me the coordinates and I'll go find you immediately. Ren Wuxuang gritted her teeth. Qin Feiyang's heart skipped a beat. The tigress was about to flip out. Cough cough. He coughed dryly and asked, Sis, have you taken the Juku Yellow Dragon elixir? What? You want to go back? No way, don't try to change the topic, give me the coordinates. Ren Wuxuang shouted angrily, her two pure white hands were clenched into fists, and her eyes were extremely ferocious. No, what I mean is, if you didn't take it, I'll give you another Juku Yellow Dragon elixir. Qin Feiyang smiled apologetically, not mentioning a single word about the coordinates. Why do you have to give it to me separately? Ren Wuxuang frowned. Qin Feiyang said helplessly, Can you answer me first? Ren Wuxuang said, I'm going to take it when I'm an 8-star war emperor, so the Juku Yellow Dragon Elixir is still here. Qin Feiyang asked, then how many stars of war emperor are you now? Ren Wuxuang said, 2 stars. You only broke through 1 star? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He remembered that when he came out of the ruins, Ren Wuxuang was a 1-star war emperor. Counting carefully, more than a year had passed since then, but when he thought of this, Qin Feiyang's face revealed a bitter smile. It wasn't easy to break through every small realm of the War Emperor realm. To break through a small realm in more than a year's time, for someone who hadn't unlocked the door of potential, it was simply impossible. This was enough to show that Ren Wuxuang's talent was extremely astonishing. If it wasn't for the fact that she had been delayed in the ruins for so many years, she might already be a war master. Give the Juku Yellow Dragon Elixir on you to the Lion-Head Eagle. After I finish dealing with the matters at hand and return to the temple, I'll give you another one. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he immediately turned off the image crystal, so as to avoid being lectured any further. Fatso gloated, boss, so you have someone you're afraid of. You dare to say that you're not afraid of her? Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes at him, and said in a deep voice, I'll give you a mission. Speak. Fatso's face turned solemn, and he immediately put away his playful heart. Qin Feiyang said, disguise yourself and go to the Dong family, bring Steward Dong here for me, but it's best not to alert anyone else. It's a small matter. Fatso smiled confidently, consumed an illusory form pill, and turned into a middle-aged brawny man. He then opened a teleportation gate and quickly left. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King discussed for a moment, then sat cross-legged on the ground and closed their eyes to meditate. In front of the Dong family's main gate. Shwa. Fatso appeared out of thin air. Who are you? The 4 guards shouted. They all had the strength of a 9-star war king. Fatso looked at the 2 sides of the street sneakily, and said in a low voice, I want to see your butler. The 4 of them looked at each other with a trace of suspicion in their eyes. One of them asked, is there something you need from our butler? Of course there's something, and it's a big deal. Hurry up and bring me there. If there's any delay, none of you will have a good time. Fatso bellowed. Seeing his serious expression, the 4 guards were shocked. Follow me. One of the guards immediately turned around and ran inside with Fatso. Not long after, the 2 of them arrived in front of a courtyard. Steward Dong was sitting in the courtyard, drinking tea and basking in the sun, looking extremely relaxed. The guard said respectfully, Steward, this person is looking for you for an urgent matter. Steward Dong was slightly stunned. He turned to look at the 2 of them, and his eyes locked onto Fatso. He asked, what is it? That, Fatso looked at the guard and evaded. Steward Dong waved his hand and said, you may leave. Yes. The guard bowed and left. Steward Dong then said to Fatso, come in and talk. Fatso walked into the courtyard and said with a flattering smile, Sir, this news is very important. You have to give me something in return before I can tell you. Steward Dong raised his eyebrows, put down the teapot, and said, in the state capital, no one dares to negotiate with me. He paused for a moment and added, however, if the information you say is indeed useful to me, I will consider giving you some compensation. Fatso said, Qin Feiyang. What? Steward Dong could not sit still when he heard this name. Fatso said, when I was hunting outside the city, I saw Qin Feiyang and that ruffian wolf. Where are they? Steward Dong grabbed Fatso's clothes, his old eyes flashing with a shocking cold light. This, sir, look, Fatso rubbed his fingers, his face full of flattery. Steward Dong frowned and let go. Are you sure it's them? You have to know that lying to me will cost you your life. Fatso nodded, I dare to use my head to guarantee it. Overjoyed, Steward Dong laughed, all right, follow me to meet the family head immediately. At that time, the family head will definitely reward you handsomely. Don't. Fatso said hurriedly. What do you mean? Steward Dong frowned. Sir, think about it. If you tell the Dong family head now, you won't get any credit. On the contrary, if Milord were to first capture Qin Feiyang and that ruffian wolf, and then deliver them to the Dong family's patriarch, that would be a great merit. Fatso said. Ah. Steward Dong looked at Fatso in surprise and laughed. I didn't expect you to be so smart. Hee hee. Fatso smiled obsequiously. I only hope that you can take care of me in the future, sir. All right, after this matter is done, you can stay by my side. I'll guarantee you a meteoric rise. Steward Dong laughed. However, a cold killing intent flashed through the depths of his old eyes. Thank you, sir. The fatty bowed and said with a smile, as if he was overwhelmed by the favor and moved to tears. Steward Dong said, take me there quickly. Fatso immediately told Steward Dong the coordinates of the valley. Steward Dong took out a teleportation door and quickly opened it. Then he grabbed Fatso and walked in. In the next moment, the two of them descended into the valley. When he saw Qin Feiyang sitting cross-legged not far in front of him, his entire body suddenly emitted a monstrous killing intent. Qin Feiyang's expression changed drastically. He suddenly stood up, looked at Steward Dong in shock and anger, and said in disbelief, how did you find this place? But if one looked carefully, they would notice that his left hand was hidden in his sleeve. Steward Dong sneered, even if you hide to the ends of the earth, you can't escape from this old man's palm. What do you want? Qin Feiyang said angrily. What do you think? You killed the third young master, of course you have to pay with your blood. Steward Dong laughed sinisterly. Bullshit. Back then, it was clearly you and Dong Zheng who wanted to take the opportunity to kill me. Now you're biting back, do you have any shame? Qin Feiyang shouted angrily. So what? Now everyone only knows that you killed the third young master. Even if you tell the truth, no one will believe you. Even the sacred temple can't protect you now. Don't struggle, obediently follow this old man, maybe you can save your life, or leave an intact corpse. The corner of Steward Dong's mouth raised, with a hint of ridicule. Hee hee, Qin Feiyang laughed. Wolf King also laughed. Chapter 406. When Steward Dong saw the situation, a sense of unease rose in his heart. Thank you very much. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to clear my name. Qin Feiyang said with a chuckle. He stretched out his hand that was hidden in his sleeve. There was an image crystal in his hand. Damn it. Butler Dong's expression changed. Hee hee, do you think Fat Lord will be so kind as to let you go? Fatso laughed sinisterly. He took the facial restoration pill and quickly regained his original appearance. It's you. Butler Dong's gaze trembled. Only now did he realize that this was a trap. Your words just now are enough to ruin the Dong family's reputation. But then again, you're an old fox. Why are you so stupid? Fatso laughed mockingly. Steward Dong's aged hands were tightly clenched together. But suddenly, he laughed again. So what if I have evidence? With the strength of you little bastards, do you think you can make it back to the city alive? Boom. After saying that, a powerful aura roared out from his body. He took a step forward, carrying a murderous aura, and charged towards the two men and the wolf. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. He asked, how's your strength? 2-star combat emperor. Wolf King grinned. A butler is a 2-star combat emperor. The Dong family's strength should not be underestimated. Fatso, take some time to investigate the Dong family and the Shao family. Qin Feiyang whispered. He knew the basic situation of the Lu family, but he knew nothing about the Dong family and the Shao family. Understood. Fatso nodded. Investigate us? Huh, wait until you're alive. Butler Dong laughed out of anger. In the face of his attack, the two men and the wolf did not run away. Instead, they spoke with conviction. They simply did not put him in their eyes. Old thing, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Wolf King's eyes flashed fiercely. He used the air escape step and arrived in front of Butler Dong at lightning speed. He clawed at his chest. Puff! Butler Dong immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His old body flew out horizontally and smashed into a huge mountain behind him. Rumble. A huge hole immediately appeared on the mountain peak. Don't kill him, Qin Feiyang said. Whoosh. Wolf King turned into a streak of light and flew into the hole. He then grabbed Butler Dong and flew out. However, at this moment, Steward Dong had completely lost his previous arrogance. His hair was disheveled, his face dirty, and his entire chest caved in. Blood continued to flow from the corner of his mouth. His old face was also filled with disbelief. It had only been 7 months. How had this ruffian wolf become so strong? Qin Feiyang said, cripple him. Old bastard, you didn't think that you would have a day like this, did you? Fatso sneered. He took out a dagger and stabbed it into Steward Dong's chi-si. Ah! The heart-wrenching pain caused Butler Dong to howl miserably. Fatso took out another healing pill and threw it into Butler Dong's mouth to keep him alive. Wolf King threw Butler Dong to the ground and asked, Little Qin Zi, what's next? Let's go to the treasure pavilion first and find Yin Yuanming. Qin Feiyang put away the image crystal and sent Butler Dong into the ancient castle. Then, he opened a teleportation door. Then, 2 people and a wolf strode in. East City. The lounge of the treasure pavilion. 2 people and a wolf appeared out of thin air. Qin Feiyang glanced around the lounge. Everything was still the same as before. There were no changes at all. But Yin Yuanming was not in the lounge. Fatso said, Fat Lord, go find him. No need. Anyway, we're not in a hurry now. Let's wait for a while. Qin Feiyang shook his head, walked to the tea table, and boiled water to make tea as if it was his own home. In fact, he didn't want others to know that he had returned too early. Because it was too boring. It was fine if he didn't make a move, but once he made a move, he would amaze the world. At the same time, in the VIP room, Yin Yuanming and Patriarch Lu sat opposite each other. Yin Yuanming made tea and smiled. Patriarch Lu, why are you here in person? Patriarch Lu said, this patriarch is here to discuss something with Steward Yin face to face. Yin Yuanming raised his eyebrows and smiled. Patriarch Lu, just say what you want to say. All right then, I won't beat around the bush. I hope that in the future, all the herbs purchased by the Lu family in the treasure pavilion will be half price. Butler Lu said with a smile. Half price. Yin Yuanming's eyes trembled, and a strong anger surged in his heart. Since the ban was lifted, the Lu family didn't restrain themselves. Instead, they took the opportunity to threaten the treasure pavilion. Qin Feiyang went missing, so no one provided the treasure pavilion with supreme-grade elixirs. And in the entire city, only Murong Jing and Lu Xingchen were supreme-grade alchemists. Murong Jing never refined elixirs to outsiders. So now the treasure pavilion could only count on Lu Xingchen. Patriarch Lu saw this point and came to threaten the treasure pavilion. If they didn't give a discount, the Lu family would refuse to provide supreme-grade elixirs to the treasure pavilion. The treasure pavilion had no choice but to give them a 10% discount. But unexpectedly, the Lu family wasn't satisfied and still wanted half price. This was simply a loss-making business. Manager Yin, don't look so unhappy. Yuzhen Bao Pavilion asked for this. If you didn't ban the Lu family back then, I wouldn't be making things difficult for you now. There was a faint smile on Patriarch Lu's face, looking immensely pleased with himself. Butler Yin held back his anger and shook his head. Half price is impossible. At most, I'll give the Lu family a 15% discount. Patriarch Lu said, if I say half price, then it's half price. There's no room for negotiation. Don't go too far. Butler Ian stood up abruptly, and the anger in his heart exploded. This patriarch learned it from you. Back then, the Lu family had begged you a lot, but did you lift the ban on the treasure pavilion? If it wasn't for that little bastard Qin Feiyang's mysterious death, I'm afraid your precious treasure pavilion would still be banning my Lu clan. Patriarch Lu sneered. Phew. Butler Ian clenched his fists and took a deep breath. I can't make this decision. I need to discuss it with the pavilion leader first. Then take your time to discuss it. I'll wait for your decision. Clan leader Lu said indifferently. Then, he got up and left with a bright smile. Damn bastard. If that bastard Qin Feiyang was still alive, the Lu family would have a chance to be arrogant. After Patriarch Lu left, Yin Yuanming couldn't help but hit the tea table angrily. Crack. The tea table broke. At this time, Qin Jie walked into the VIP room and said in a low voice, Butler, we can't let the Lu family continue to be so arrogant. Butler Yin said, how was your talk with Murong Jing? Qin Jie shook her head. The treasure pavilion didn't want to be passive either. Therefore, Yin Yuanming asked Qin Jie to find Murong Jing and persuade her to cooperate with the treasure pavilion no matter what. But no matter what Qin Jie said, Murong Jing was unwilling to cooperate. What should we do now? Yin Yuanming sat on the chair weakly, his face full of worry. If only Qin Feiyang wasn't dead. Qin Jie sighed. Don't count on a dead man. Continue to find Murong Jing. No matter what it takes, you have to make her agree. I'm going to rest for a while. Yin Yuanming got up and walked to the lounge. His old face was full of fatigue. When he came to the lounge, he was stunned. Why was there a sound in the lounge? How dare you barge in without my permission? How dare you? He had been suppressing a bellyful of anger. Now that he saw someone barging in, he couldn't control his anger. Bang! He kicked the door open and yelled, you guys are too audacious, But the next moment, he froze. Qin Feiyang, Fatso, and Wolf King looked up and were stunned. Why did he look so angry? Manager, what's wrong? Qin Jie heard the noise and immediately ran over in surprise. When she came to the door and saw two people and a wolf in the lounge, she was also stunned. Manager, Miss Jie, what's going on? Soon. A few more guards ran over in a hurry. Yin Yuanming shivered and came back to his senses. He hurriedly said, nothing, you can leave. The guards stopped and looked at each other. Yin Yuanming said, also, tell them that I'm going to entertain the guests and not see anyone. Yes. The guards responded respectfully, bowing and retreating with their heads full of doubts. Yin Yuanming stepped into the lounge and said, Jie, close the door. Bang! Qin Jie closed the door and stood beside Yin Yuanming, looking at the two people and the wolf in disbelief. Was this a dream? Qin Feiyang picked up the teacup and tasted it. He smiled faintly and said, there's no need to be so surprised when old friends meet. Yin Yuanming ignored him and whispered, Jie, pinch me and see if I'm seeing things. Is this okay? Qin Jie was stunned. Hurry up. Yin Yuanming shouted. Qin Jie reached out and pinched Yin Yuanming's arm hard. Gasp. Immediately, Yin Yuanming gasped in pain. But the pain was instantly replaced by ecstasy. It was not a dream. It was real. This bastard brat was back. He stepped in front of Qin Feiyang and was about to speak. But at this moment, Qin Jie walked up and whispered a few words in his ear. Makes sense. Yin Yuanming nodded and quickly took out a heaven's eye stone. He said to Qin Feiyang, come and verify your identity. Puff. Qin Feiyang spat out the tea in his mouth and his face twitched. Qin Deity said, "Young Master Qin, this is sudden. We have to confirm it. Please understand." "All right." Qin Feiyang stood up and pressed his arm on the Heaven's Eye Stone. A moment later, the Heaven's Eye Stone did not move at all. Qin Feiyang did not change either. It was enough to prove that the person in front of him was really Qin Feiyang, who had been missing for 7 months. "Brat, you're finally back. Where have you been fooling around for the past 6 months?" Yin Yuanming was so excited that his body was trembling. Qin Deity was the same. Chapter 407. Steward Yin, you're not young. You need to be steady. We won't be responsible if you die of exhaustion because of too much excitement. Fatso sneered. Get lost. I'm still young. How can I die of exhaustion? Don't curse me. Yin Yuanming's face darkened as he glared at Fatso. You're still young? Fatso was speechless. Yin Yuanming said, don't change the topic. Tell me, where have you been in the past few months? It's a long story. I'm afraid it won't be finished even after 10 days and nights. Are you sure you want us to tell you? Fatso grinned. Yin Yuanming and Qin Deity looked at each other with a hint of surprise in their eyes. Qin Deity said, by the way, steward, are we still going to find Murong Jing? Huh, is there a need? Yin Yuanming laughed heartily. Indeed, there's no need. Qin Deity smiled and squatted beside the tea table to make tea. Yin Yuanming sat down beside Qin Feiyang and looked at the 2 men and the wolf. He said, since you can't finish in a short time, let's not talk about it. Okay, let's get back to business. Fatso nodded and asked, why did you lift the ban on the Lu family? I knew you would ask, but you can't blame me. Yin Yuanming sighed. If the ban was not lifted, the supreme-grade pills would have been out of stock. For the treasure pavilion, it was absolutely intolerable to run out of stock. Qin Feiyang, who had been silent, finally put down the teacup. Let's not talk about the past. You said you were looking for Murong Jing. What's going on? Qin Feiyang asked. It's all because of the Lu family. Yin Yuanming immediately blew his beard and glared. Immediately. He recounted what had happened in detail. Fatso sneered, the Lu family is really arrogant. Yin Yuanming said, not only the Lu family, but the Zheng and Wang families are also colluding with the Lu family. Fatso asked suspiciously, which Zheng family and Wang family? Yin Yuanming said, it's Zheng Chuan and Wang Fei's family. They still haven't been honest? Fatso frowned. When you were in the capital, they were very obedient. However, once he heard that you all had died outside, he immediately jumped up. Moreover, he told everyone he met that they deserved to die outside and that even death couldn't wipe out their crimes. Yin Yuanming said. Then let's make them unable to jump. A cold light flashed in Fatso's eyes. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, no, since they have not learned their lesson, let them disappear from the continent's capital. Qin Deity shuddered. Although the Wang clan and the Zheng clan couldn't be compared to the Lu clan, they were still considered famous first-rate clans. There were also many war emperors in the clan. Even Zhenbao Pavilion didn't dare to casually ask them to disappear. However, not only did that person mention it, he even spoke of it so casually. It was as if he was describing a very, very ordinary matter. This guy really hadn't changed at all. Domineering. Confidence. It made people feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. No. He was scarier than before. Now that Qin Feiyang was back, Yin Yuanming also felt more confident. He asked, what are your plans? What do you think? Qin Feiyang asked back. You brat, can you not throw a problem at me every time? Yin Yuanming was a little angry. Obviously, this guy wanted him to make the decision first. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, of course, there must be sincerity in a cooperation. No matter what he did, he had to seize the initiative first. Now, it wasn't that he needed Jinbao Pavilion, but Jinbao Pavilion needed him. He couldn't speak first. Of course. As long as Jinbao Pavilion showed sincerity, he wouldn't be stingy. Yin Yuanming glared at him fiercely. After pondering for a while, Yin Yuanming made up his mind and turned to Qin Diei, saying, "Immediately give the order to ban the Lu clan, Dong clan, Jing clan, and Wang clan." Ban the Dong clan too? Qin Diei was surprised. Ban them. Yin Yuanming nodded. Phew. Qin Diei took a deep breath, got up and left quickly. Yin Yuanming said, "Brat, are you satisfied with Jinbao Pavilion's sincerity?" Qin Feiyang took out a Juku yellow dragon pill and placed it on the tea table. He smiled and said, "Are you satisfied with my sincerity?" "What? This, how can there be so many pill patterns?" Yin Yuanming stood up suddenly, his eyes filled with disbelief. "This pill is called Juku Yellow Dragon Pill. It can help Battle King and Battle Emperor break through 5 small realms." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. As soon as these words came out, Yin Yuanming was like a bolt from the blue, his body and mind trembled. Qin Feiyang said, "This is for you as a gift for meeting again, but remember, don't tell anyone, and don't auction it." "For me?" Yin Yuanming was stunned and said in surprise, "Can it really break through 5 small realms?" "White-Eyed Wolf has personally tested it." Qin Feiyang laughed. Yin Yuanming looked at Wolf King, and Wolf King cooperated and released his aura. 5-star Battle Emperor. Yin Yuanming's eyes trembled, and the shock in his heart could no longer be described with words. Too shocking. This was too exciting. He put it away as if he had obtained a treasure. No. This was a treasure. If this pill were to spread, it would definitely cause a bloodbath in the spiritual state. Qin Feiyang stood up and smiled. "As for the other pills, wait for me to return to the Holy Palace and I will immediately refine them for you." Yin Yuanming was stunned and hurriedly said, "You're leaving just like that?" Fatso chuckled and said, "Are you still planning to treat us to a drink?" Yin Yuanming said, "Isn't that obvious? I haven't seen you for more than half a year, of course I have to give you a welcoming party." "Forget about the welcoming party. After all, I just came back, and there are still many things to deal with." Qin Feiyang smiled and took out a teleportation gate. "Wait." Yin Yuanming reached out to grab him and frowned. "You're going back to the Holy Palace like this? Why?" Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Yin Yuanming said in a deep voice, "The Dong family is not to be trifled with. They will definitely attack you as soon as they see you." Now Qin Feiyang was the god of wealth of the precious treasure pavilion, and no accidents could happen to him. "Don't worry, as long as the Dong family doesn't mess with us, we will let them jump around for a few more days. But if they do, we will ruin their reputation today." Fatso smiled coldly. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened the teleportation gate. 2 men and 1 wolf walked in one after another. Meanwhile, the ban of the precious treasure pavilion was like a plague, quickly spreading in the eastern city. What's going on this time? Not only the Lu family, the Wang family, the Jing family, and even the Dong family are banned? Strange, wasn't the precious treasure pavilion polite to the Lu family a while ago? Why did they suddenly turn hostile? If they offend the Lu family, no one will provide the precious treasure pavilion with supreme-grade pills. Who gave the precious treasure pavilion such confidence? The entire eastern city was in an uproar in an instant. And this explosive news was quickly spreading to the western city, northern city, southern city, and central city. In the lounge. As soon as the 2 men and 1 wolf left, a woman in purple clothes walked in. Yin Yuanming cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, Pavilion Master." "What's going on?" The woman in purple clothes frowned. She rushed over as soon as she received the news of the ban. Because this matter was too big, she couldn't sit back and do nothing. Yin Yuanming first closed the door, then walked to the woman in purple clothes and took out the Juku yellow dragon pill. This is, the woman in purple clothes' eyes lit up. Pavilion Master, Qin Feiyang has returned. This medicinal pill was given to me by him. Yin Yuanming said excitedly. When did he come back? Where is he now? The woman in purple clothes was surprised. Yin Yuanming said, he just left. The woman in purple clothes frowned and said, why didn't you inform me? I was too happy and forgot about it. Yin Yuanming smiled embarrassedly. He's not dead. This is interesting. The woman in purple clothes' red lips lifted slightly and asked, what's the effect of this pill? I heard from Qin Feiyang that it's very shocking. I'm a 5-star combat emperor now. Why don't I give it a try? Yin Yuanming hesitated and threw the Juku yellow dragon pill into his mouth. Bang! Not long after, his aura skyrocketed. The woman in purple clothes' eyes lit up. She waved her jade-like hand lightly and battle chi emerged, sealing Yin Yuanming's aura. In the end, Yin Yuanming soared all the way to the 9-star combat emperor before stopping. Can it really work? Yin Yuanming was stunned. He could even clearly feel that he could enter the 1-star combat ancestor at any time. The woman in purple clothes was also stunned. At the same time, Patriarch Lu returned home. Before he could sit down, housekeeper Lu found him and told him about the ban of Zhenbao Pavilion. Impossible. Without Qin Feiyang, how can Zhenbao Pavilion ban us? Even if they had a few guts, they wouldn't dare. Is there a mistake in your information? Patriarch Lu's face was filled with disbelief. Right now, it's spreading like wildfire everywhere. It's definitely not wrong. Housekeeper Lu shook his head. Immediately, Patriarch Lu flew into a rage and roared, damned bastard, what the hell are they doing? Housekeeper Lu frowned and said, could it be because of the conditions you proposed earlier that angered them? That's not right. If it was because I angered them, they would only ban my Lu family. It's impossible for them to ban the Zheng, Wang, and Dong families as well. There must be something fishy about this. Quickly go and check it out. The sooner the better. Patriarch Lu said. All right. Housekeeper Lu nodded and quickly left. Who is playing tricks? Patriarch Lu frowned. He couldn't figure it out even after racking his brains. As for the Zheng, Wang, and Dong families, they were also confused. Temple. Alchemy room number 2. 2 men and a wolf appeared out of thin air. We're back. Qin Feiyang looked at the familiar scene in front of him and felt a myriad of emotions in his heart. Hey! When everyone sees us return, their expressions will be very interesting. Fatso said playfully. Qin Feiyang smiled and walked into the alchemy room. The smile on his face suddenly froze. On the stone table, there was actually an alchemy furnace. On the furnace, there was a faint layer of treasure light. Wolf King and Fatso's eyes also darkened. The alchemy room was actually occupied by someone. Wolf King said, if I remember correctly, this alchemy furnace should be Lu Ziyuan's. Fatso frowned and said, wasn't he chased out of the temple? Zhenbao Pavilion will lift the ban on the Lu family. It's not strange that the temple will recall the disciples of the Lu family. However, not everyone is qualified to occupy my alchemy room. Chapter 408. Wolf King said fiercely, let's go cripple that bastard right now. Do you know where he is? If it were up to me, we would just sit here and wait for him to deliver himself to us. Fatso laughed sinisterly. Wolf King said disdainfully, TSK, waiting for rabbits is not my character. I think you want to go out and behave atrociously. Fatso had a look of disdain on his face. Yeah. You damned fatty, do you have to go against this big brother of yours? Do you believe that I won't beat you up? Wolf King stared at him unkindly. Aren't you guys annoying? Qin Feiyang glared at them angrily, and said, Fatso, hurry up and organize the treasures of the 4 great tribes. White-eyed Wolf, you go and help as well. Not going. Wolf King shook his head. It's not up to you to decide. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and sent the man and the wolf into the castle. Next. He looked at the pill furnace, the corner of his mouth raised slightly, and took out an illusory form pill, casually changing its appearance. Then he took out the clothes of a temple disciple, and after putting them on, he opened the stone door of the alchemy room and walked out. Who are you? Why are you in Senior Brother Lu's alchemy room? 2 young men were coincidentally in the corridor outside. Upon seeing Qin Feiyang, the 2 of them frowned and questioned. Qin Feiyang glanced at the 2 of them. The 2 of them looked very familiar. It was 2 of the 6 9th level mental strength S. Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Isn't this Senior Brother Qin's alchemy room? When did it become Senior Brother Lu's? Senior Brother Qin? Are you talking about Qin Feiyang? The 2 of them were stunned. Qin Feiyang nodded. Huh, that little bastard died a long time ago. Are you a new disciple? Let me tell you, don't mention his name in front of us in the future. Otherwise, you will have to bear the consequences. The 2 of them sneered. A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes as he said, All right, I will definitely not mention it again. May I know the names of the 2 senior martial brothers? Jia Gao. He Shan. We're both at the 9th level of spiritual power. Also, don't come up here without our permission in the future. The 2 of them spoke arrogantly with their nostrils pointing to the sky. Understood. Qin Feiyang nodded and walked past the 2 of them. Jia Gao, He Shan, he muttered to himself as he silently memorized these 2 names. A short while later, Qin Feiyang walked out of the Pill Fire Palace. Elder D and Elder Li were still guarding the 2 sides of the gate. Qin Feiyang smiled at the 2 of them. He then entered the plaza and walked towards a small path. The 2 of them were slightly stunned as they looked suspiciously at Qin Feiyang's back. When did this disciple come? Why don't I have any recollection of it? By the time they wanted to ask, Qin Feiyang had already entered the small path and disappeared from their sight. Qin Feiyang wanted to go to the martial arts practice field. The temple's great gathering was not over yet, so Lu Ziyuan should be at the martial stage. However, finding Lu Ziyuan was only secondary. What he really wanted to do was to use this opportunity to announce his, Qin Feiyang's, official return. On the way, Qin Feiyang encountered many temple's disciples, all discussing the temple's great gathering. He was not in a hurry, but silently listened to the discussions. Gradually, he got a general idea. The temple's great gathering was very complicated. The first step was the knockout round. The second step was to decide the top 500. The third step was to decide the top 100. The fourth step was the final battle, where the top 10 would fight for the champion's throne. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Such a troublesome competition, even if he was given a few billion, he would not be interested in participating. If he had the time, he might as well cultivate. Half an hour passed. He finally arrived at the martial stage. The martial stage was very large, occupying an area of several thousand feet. There was a sea of people all around, and the noise was incessant. On the left edge of the martial stage, there were 5 seats. 2 men and 2 women were sitting on them. 2 of them were Lu Yun and Shi Ming. Qin Feiyang stood at the back of the crowd, with a trace of doubt in his eyes. Lu Yun and Shi Ming were the temple's enforcement elders, so it was reasonable for them to sit there. But what qualifications did the other man and woman have to sit beside them? He looked at the woman. The woman looked very young, about 24 or 25 years old. She was wearing a purple dress, and was rather tall. Her skin was as white as snow, and there was a beauty mole between her eyebrows. But the aura she exuded was not very strong, at most a 5-star or 6-star war emperor. Compared to Lu Yun and Shi Ming, she could not be compared at all. Qin Feiyang's gaze turned, and looked at the man again. The man was also very young. He wore a fitting purple robe, and his eyebrows were like swords. His temperament was quite extraordinary. The man and woman's demeanors were somewhat old. Their eyes were also filled with a kind of contempt and arrogance. Why does he look a little familiar? Qin Feiyang looked at the purple-clothed youth with a trace of doubt in his eyes. He was sure that he had seen this person somewhere before, but he could not recall where. Bam! 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 On the stage, 2 temple disciples were fighting. They both had the strength of a 5-star war monarch. The 2 of them used their own methods, and it was difficult to tell who was the winner. It was quite interesting. Qin Feiyang watched for a while, then shifted his gaze to the other side. There stood a middle-aged man. He looked at the entire audience with a serious face, and there was a great sense of majesty. Qin Feiyang's face revealed a trace of a smile. Because this person was Yan Nanshan. Qin Feiyang squeezed into the crowd. There were too many people, and they were almost touching each other. By the time he squeezed to the first row, his body was drenched in sweat. Suddenly, he looked to the right. There was a group of young men and women with outstanding temperaments. There were a total of more than 20 people. They were like cranes in a flock of chickens, and they were extremely dazzling. The temple disciples behind them did not dare to get close to them, and there was a trace of obvious fear in their eyes. Lu Ziyuan, Xiao Hong, Dong Qing, Dong Fangyu, Xiao Jian, and the other 4 young men and women with level 9 mind power were among them. As for the others, Qin Feiyang was unfamiliar with them. Ah! Accompanied by a scream, the battle on the stage was finally decided. The person who lost left the stage dejectedly. The person who won had a smile on his face. However, when he looked at Lu Ziyuan and the others, his expression suddenly dimmed. What's the use of winning now? Sooner or later, we will be defeated by those monsters. That person shook his head and sighed, then left the martial arts arena as well. Next round, Lu Ziyuan and Zhang Ren, please enter the martial arts arena immediately. Yan Nanshan shouted. Dong Qing smiled and said, Senior brother Lu, it's your turn. You must perform well. Is there a need? With senior brother Lu's current strength, he can finish Zhang Ren in a few moves. Xiao Hong had a look of disdain. An ant will be an ant after all. Lu Ziyuan smiled contemptuously and jumped up. With a suave turn, he landed on the martial arts arena. So handsome. Senior brother Lu not only has an extraordinary talent in alchemy, but his martial arts talent is also not inferior to anyone. Most importantly, he has a family background. How great would it be if I could marry him? The surrounding disciples all looked at him with admiration. Some of the girls were even more exaggerated. They could not wait to run up and offer themselves to him. There was a girl behind Qin Feiyang. She looked at Lu Ziyuan with infatuation, and her saliva was about to flow out. Qin Feiyang turned to look at her and said speechlessly, Is it that exaggerated? What do you know? A little tramp like you will never be able to compare to senior brother Lu. The girl glared at him fiercely. Ah! Qin Feiyang was stunned. He then shook his head and did not argue with the girl. At this moment, another short young man in black walked up to the martial arts arena hesitantly. There was a deep fear in his eyes as he looked at Lu Ziyuan. Lu Ziyuan smiled disdainfully and said impatiently, Zhang Ren, hurry up. Don't waste my time. The black-clothed youth's body trembled, and he almost fell to the ground. Is there a need to be so afraid? Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Although the young man in black was small, his strength was not bad. He was a 5-star battle monarch. If he dared to fight with his life on the line, it was not as if he had no chance of winning. Because Lu Ziyuan was only a 7-star battle monarch. Lu Ziyuan became more and more impatient. He waved his hand and said, "Just admit defeat and stop competing." "I really don't understand. Why would a piece of trash like you participate in the competition? Isn't it a waste of a spot?" he added. His eyes were full of disdain. The surrounding crowd also roared with laughter. After being humiliated repeatedly, Zhang Ren could not help but clench his fists tightly. Especially when he heard the laughter around him, it made him extremely ashamed and angry. All of a sudden, he looked up at Lu Ziyuan and roared, "What are you so arrogant for? If Qin Feiyang was still here, I'm afraid you wouldn't even have the chance to participate in the competition." As soon as the three words Qin Feiyang appeared, the entire place fell into a dead silence. Everyone's face was solemn. Even their breathing became heavy. Qin Feiyang. He was a legend. Unfortunately, the legend has fallen. The girl behind Qin Feiyang sighed. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He turned to look at the girl and asked curiously, "You know Qin Feiyang too?" "Of course. I'm not the only one who knows him. Everyone in the city knows him." "No. His name is already famous in the spiritual state. Everyone knows him. Unfortunately, the heavens are jealous of his talent. He died young." The girl shook her head. Just as she finished speaking, she frowned again. "You don't know Qin Feiyang? You're really ignorant." The girl's face was full of disdain. Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. He turned to look at Lu Ziyuan. At this moment, Lu Ziyuan's face was so gloomy that it was about to drip water. He stared at Zhang Ren and said word by word, "I dare you to say it again. Am I wrong? When Qin Feiyang was still here, you were like a mouse that saw a cat. Now that Qin Feiyang is gone, you're arrogant and domineering. Have you heard of the saying? When the tiger is gone, the monkey will be king. It's talking about you." Zhang Ren mocked. "You're courting death." Lu Ziyuan's killing intent rose. Zhang Ren smiled coldly and looked at Yan Nanshan. He bowed and said, "Elder, I admit defeat." When he said those words, he did not intend to fight with Lu Ziyuan. His goal was to make Lu Ziyuan mad and humiliate him in public. At the same time, he could vent the anger in his heart. "Yes." Yan Nanshan nodded and shouted, "Lu Ziyuan, Zhang Ren has admitted defeat. You're not allowed to attack again." However, Lu Ziyuan turned a deaf ear. Bang! A gush of aura roared out of his body. Bang! He landed in front of Zhang Ren at lightning speed and sent Zhang Ren flying with a punch. 8-star combat king? Qin Feiyang was shocked. It turned out that Lu Ziyuan had broken through. No wonder he was so arrogant. Chapter 409. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. He jumped up and landed on the martial arts practice field. Everyone was stunned. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang ignored him. With another dive, he rushed to the bottom of Zhang Ren like lightning. There was a loud bang. He stepped on the ground and jumped more than 10 meters high. His large hand shot out and grabbed Zhang Ren's arm. Then, he landed on the ground steadily. However, when he laid Zhang Ren flat on the ground, he found that Zhang Ren was dead. Lu Ziyuan's punch landed on Zhang Ren's chest. Not only was his chest caved in, but his heart was also broken. His attack was really vicious. At the same time, Lu Ziyuan saw that Zhang Ren was dead. Not only was he not apologetic, he even smirked. Then he looked at Qin Feiyang with cold eyes. How dare he interfere in his business? Was he courting death? Whoosh! At this moment, another young man in white rushed to the martial arts practice field and ran to Zhang Ren's side. He asked with concern, "Brother, are you okay?" "Zhang Jin." Qin Feiyang was stunned. The person who came was the staff of the resource hall. Qin Feiyang looked at Zhang Ren and asked, he's your brother? Zhang Jin nodded. Yes, my dear brother. Thank you. Qin Feiyang sighed. Don't thank me. Your brother is dead. What? Zhang Jin's face changed. He quickly squatted on the ground to check on Zhang Ren. Sure enough, he could no longer feel Zhang Ren's heartbeat and breathing. Why? Zhang Jin muttered to himself. His face was pale. His 10 fingers were tightly clenched together. His nails had already sunk into his flesh and blood was flowing. He suddenly turned around, stared at Lu Ziyuan and shouted, "My brother has already admitted defeat. Why did you kill him, trash?" Lu Ziyuan was disdainful. He turned around and walked down the stage with a cold face. Zhang Jin stared at Lu Ziyuan's back. He wanted to pounce and die together with Lu Ziyuan to avenge his brother. But his rationality told him that he could not do that. Because he knew that he was not Lu Ziyuan's opponent. He could not afford to offend Lu Ziyuan. But he was unwilling. Plop. He knelt on the ground and looked helplessly at Yan Nanshan. He repeatedly kowtowed and said, "Elder, I beg you, please uphold justice." Some of the disciples below the stage couldn't help but whisper among themselves. Lu Ziyuan had indeed gone too far this time. But who dared to say anything? Furthermore, there was also a portion of the crowd that was cheering loudly. These people were all Lu Ziyuan's admirers. In their opinion, Zhang Ren deserved it. Otherwise, would Lu Ziyuan kill him for his provocation? Who was to blame for courting death? "Elder, I beg you, don't let my big brother die in vain." Zhang Jin was still kowtowing. His forehead was already bleeding, and blood stained the floor. Yan Nanshan's eyes flickered as he turned to look at Lu Ziyuan. "Stop right there. What's up?" Lu Ziyuan stopped and turned to look at Yan Nanshan impatiently. "The rules of the competition have already been made clear. Both parties will stop when the battle is over. Furthermore, earlier, Zhang Ren had already admitted defeat. Yet, you still attacked him to kill him. Therefore, I will disqualify you from the competition." Yan Nanshan shouted. "What? Disqualified?" There was an uproar in the crowd. However, Zhang Jin was very disappointed. What was the use of being disqualified? Such a punishment was worse than no punishment at all. Qin Feiyang saw through Zhang Jin's thoughts with a single glance. Sigh. He sighed and patted Zhang Jin's shoulder. Elder Yan has his own difficulties. Lu Ziyuan is a member of the Lu family. It's impossible for him to repay the debt with blood. I understand. I've been with Elder Yan in the resource hall for half a year. I know that he's an upright person. I just feel that it's unfair. Why should those with power and influence be allowed to do whatever they want? I can't accept this. Zhang Jin muttered. He picked up Zhang Ren's body and looked at Lu Ziyuan. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. I, Zhang Jin, swear. One day, I'll destroy the Lu family with my own hands. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left in big strides. His back looked extremely miserable. You? Lu Ziyuan smiled in disdain. Don't underestimate anyone. Today, in your eyes, he might not even be comparable to an ant. But one day in the future, he might come to your Lu family. Qin Feiyang said calmly. Lu Ziyuan frowned and looked at Qin Feiyang in disdain. Who do you think you are? At this moment, Yan Nanshan frowned and shouted, Lu Ziyuan, you can leave now. Leave? I'm afraid that's not up to you. Lu Ziyuan sneered and looked fearless. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. He even dared to talk back to Yan Nanshan. Why was Lu Ziyuan so confident today? Don't think that you have the right to be arrogant just because you have someone backing you up. If you don't leave now, don't blame me for being rude. Yan Nanshan shouted. Backing? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. Who was backing Lu Ziyuan? Sure, I'll see how you're going to be rude to me. Lu Ziyuan crossed his arms and looked at Yan Nanshan playfully. Stubborn. Yan Nanshan was furious. Wait. At this moment, a cold and arrogant voice was heard. Qin Feiyang turned his head and saw the purple-robed youth who was sitting with Lu Yun and Shiming stand up. The purple-robed youth looked at Yan Nanshan and smiled. Elder Yan, fists and feet have no eyes in the competition. It's inevitable that someone will get hurt. Why make a mountain out of a molehill? Qin Feiyang frowned. Deliberately killing someone was making a molehill out of a molehill? Could it be that this person was backing Lu Ziyuan? That's right. If it was a real duel, it's inevitable that someone will get hurt. But Lu Ziyuan was clearly killing someone on purpose. Lu Xingchen, you should know your place. The inner hall sent you here to set a good example so that everyone can learn from you. It's not for you to play favoritism and cover up for your clansmen. Yan Nanshan shouted sternly. Lu Xingchen. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. That's right. This person was Lu Xingchen. He had seen him when Ren Wushuang was communicating with him in the county of Yan. But it had been too long and he couldn't remember clearly. Now that Yan Nanshan reminded him, he immediately remembered. Why was Lu Ziyuan so confident today? It was because he was here. But what surprised Qin Feiyang was that anyone else would have fallen out with Yan Nanshan on the spot after being reprimanded so harshly by him. However, Lu Xingchen did not show the slightest bit of displeasure. This showed that he was a very shrewd person. Elder Yan, you're right. I was out of line just now. How about this? Dong Qin, Elder Lu, Elder Shi, and I will vote to decide whether Lu Ziyuan stays or goes. Elder Yan, you don't have any objections, right? Lu Xingchen cupped his hands and smiled. Okay. Yan Nanshan nodded. Although he was the one presiding over this temple's great gathering, the real authority was with Lu Yun and Shiming. Lu Xingchen smiled at Yan Nanshan, then turned to Lu Yun and the other two. Let's vote. Those who agree to disqualifying Lu Ziyuan, please raise your hand. I agree. Lu Yun was the first to raise her hand, her face covered in frost. Although Lu Xingchen was a member of the inner sanctum, he was far inferior to Lu Yun in terms of seniority and strength. More importantly, this wasn't the inner sanctum. Lu Xingchen's actions were tantamount to usurping the role of the host. He didn't even put her, the disciplinary elder, in his eyes. Lu Xingchen was still smiling as he looked at Shiming and the purple-clothed woman. Shiming pondered for a while, then sighed. Everyone makes mistakes. Let Lu Ziyuan continue participating. Lu Yun frowned and looked at Shiming with dissatisfaction. Shiming pretended not to see. The purple-clothed woman nodded. I also agree that Lu Ziyuan should continue participating. Lu Xingchen looked at Yan Nanshan again and smiled faintly. Elder Yan, I also agree that he should continue participating. I'm not shielding him. I just don't want to waste such a good talent. To be fair, Lu Ziyuan's talent is really not bad. Now, Dong Qin, Elder Shi, and I all agree that the minority should take the majority. You don't have any objections, right? Lu Xingchen added with a smile on his face. Lu Ziyuan was even more pleased with himself as he looked at Yan Nanshan with disdain. A good competition has been messed up by a few scoundrels. I think there's no need to continue this competition. Lu Yun suddenly stood up and glanced at Lu Xingchen and the others in disgust, then prepared to leave. Pa! But at this moment, the sound of a loud slap could be heard. Qin Feiyang, who had been watching coldly from the sidelines, finally spoke. What Elder Lu said is right. Since when did a scoundrel have the right to criticize the dignified divine sanctum? The divine sanctum is the holy land of cultivation that everyone dreams of. But now, It can't even be fair. Don't you all think that this is a very laughable matter? Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd in all directions, his eyes full of disdain for the divine sanctum. And at this moment, everyone's eyes were gathered on Qin Feiyang. Some were angry. Some mocked. Some agreed with Qin Feiyang's words. Shiming frowned and shouted, "How dare you? Do you have the right to speak here? Get out of here right now." What? I can't even speak. Elder Shi, you're the law enforcement elder of the divine sanctum. If you curry favor and side with Lu Ziyuan, the other disciples will be disappointed. Compared to Elder Lu, you're really too weak. Qin Feiyang shook his head and sneered. As if someone stepped on his tail, Shiming jumped up and shouted, "I told you to get out of here. Didn't you hear me?" Lu Yun sneered, "Old dog Shi, since you dare to do it, don't be afraid of others talking about it." Shiming turned his gaze and stared at Lu Yun. He said coldly, "Bitch, what did you say? Aren't you just trying to curry favor with the Lu family? Actually, it's understandable. After all, apart from Murong Jing, Lu Xingchen is the only supreme-grade alchemist in the spiritual state. However, there's no need to go through so much trouble. I'll tell you the most direct and effective way. Resign as the law enforcement elder and leave the divine sanctum. With your strength, the Lu family will definitely take you in. I also heard that the Lu family is now lacking a watchdog." Chapter 410. Well scolded. Qin Feiyang laughed. Lu Yun's scolding was quite good. Not only did she scold Shiming, but she also implicated the Lu family and Lu Xingchen. It was simply too satisfying. Although this woman wasn't easy to get along with, she had a good personality. People liked her more and more. The entire place was silent. Only Qin Feiyang's laughter and Lu Yun's scolding echoed in the air for a long time. Everyone looked at Lu Yun before shifting their gaze to Qin Feiyang. Their faces were filled with disbelief. What's wrong with this person? Doesn't he know the identity of Lu Xingchen and Shiming? Lu Yun dared to scold them because she was the law-enforcing elder. Her strength wasn't weaker than anyone. However, this person was just a disciple. How dare he be so arrogant? Who gave him such courage? Looking at Shiming again. His face was green and red. It was extremely ugly. He knew that it was unfair to let Lu Ziyuan continue participating. He also knew that Lu Yun would definitely be dissatisfied with him. However, he never expected that Lu Yun would scold him in public. Moreover, she scolded him so viciously. She actually said that he was a dog of the Lu family. In front of everyone and thousands of disciples, how was he going to face others in the future? However, he didn't dare to vent his anger on Lu Yun. Because Lu Yun's strength was much stronger than his. So, Qin Feiyang had undoubtedly become his target to vent his anger on. You deserve to be killed for offending your superior. He suddenly turned his head and stared at Qin Feiyang. His eyes flashed with intense killing intent. He is a disciple of my pill hall. Don't you dare touch him. Lu Yun shouted. Actually, she didn't know Qin Feiyang at all. She only saw that Qin Feiyang was wearing a white robe. In addition, she admired Qin Feiyang's previous performance and came forward to protect him. Shiming's eyes darkened. The anger in his heart couldn't be restrained. This damned woman, did she have to refute him in front of everyone? Seeing this, Lu Xingchen's expression also changed slightly. But it wasn't obvious. In fact, even if one were to observe carefully, they would not be able to notice it. However, the viciousness and killing intent that Lu Ziyuan exuded was not concealed at all. He raised his arm and pointed at Qin Feiyang like an old man. He sneered and said, "You dare to fight me?" Ugh! Qin Feiyang was stunned. He turned his head and looked at Lu Ziyuan playfully. "I'm not interested in this kind of game. Unless this battle is a life and death battle." Lu Ziyuan's pupils contracted. Suck. The surrounding crowd sucked in a breath of cold air. Regardless of life and death, it was a battle of life and death. Who the hell is this guy? Judging from his tone, he seems very confident. But why haven't I seen him in the previous matches? Everyone was puzzled. Dong Fangyu asked, Dong Cheng, is he a disciple from your side? Never seen him before. Dong Cheng shook his head. Xiao Jian was also confused. Qin Feiyang glanced at the reaction of the crowd below the stage, and the corners of his mouth lifted slightly. He looked at Lu Ziyuan and said, What? You don't dare? What a joke. Do you think I wouldn't dare? Lu Ziyuan was so angry that he laughed. Breaking news, breaking news. The Lu family, Dong family, Jing family, and Wang family have been completely banned by Precious Treasure Pavilion. At this moment, a few disciples of the Divine Palace ran over, shouting as they ran. What? The place instantly became chaotic. The disciples of the four major families, such as Dong Cheng, Xiao Heng, Lu Ziyuan, and Xiao Jian, were all shocked. Including Lu Xingchen and Dong Qing. What happened? Why did Precious Treasure Pavilion suddenly ban them? And it was a complete ban. However, there was one person who had a bitter smile on his face. It was Yan Nanshan. It was obvious that it was Qin Feiyang's doing. He caused such a big commotion as soon as he came back. This bastard really knew how to cause trouble. Yan Nanshan's expression was accidentally caught by Lu Yun. A hint of surprise appeared in her eyes. In the past few months, because of Qin Feiyang's disappearance, she had been in contact with Yan Nanshan. She knew Yan Nanshan's situation quite well. In the entire spiritual state, there was only one person that Yan Nanshan was worried about. That was Qin Feiyang. Yan Nanshan had such a bitter smile at this moment. Could it be that all of this had something to do with Qin Feiyang? If that was the case, didn't that mean that Qin Feiyang was back? Lu Yun shuddered and landed beside Yan Nanshan, whispering, What's the situation? Yan Nanshan said, Elder Lu, you should have guessed it too. He's back. He's really back. Lu Yun was stunned and hurriedly asked, When did he come back? Yan Nanshan said, About an hour ago. Great. Banning the four major families as soon as he came back. How satisfying. Lu Yun praised. Yan Nanshan glanced at Qin Feiyang and whispered, I'm still suspecting that this guy might be Qin Feiyang in disguise. Oh. Lu Yun was taken aback. He glanced at Qin Feiyang and frowned. His style of doing things and the look in his eyes are indeed similar to Qin Feiyang's. Yes. Yan Nanshan nodded. Shiming and company couldn't help but frown when they saw Lu Yun and Yan Nanshan whispering to each other. Dong Qing said, Elder Lu, Elder Yan, is there something that you can't say in public? No. Elder Lu and I are just discussing how to proceed with the next round of the competition. Yan Nanshan smiled faintly. Lu Yun ignored the three of them. He looked at Qin Feiyang and Lu Ziyuan and asked, Do you really want to have a life and death battle? I don't care. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Lu Ziyuan sneered. Do you have any objections? Lu Yun looked at Shiming and company. Do I dare to have any objections? Shiming sneered and returned to his seat. Lu Xingchen and Dong Qing looked at each other and shook their heads. This was because they were confident in Lu Ziyuan. Lu Yun also returned to his seat and said indifferently, Since there are no objections, let's begin. Boom. Immediately, Lu Ziyuan's body trembled as a powerful aura roared out. Come on. He stretched out his hand and looked at Qin Feiyang contemptuously. Qin Feiyang said, You'd better go all out. I don't need to go all out to deal with you. I can crush you with one hand. Lu Ziyuan said coldly. Is that so? Qin Feiyang walked towards Lu Ziyuan step by step, his expression calm. Pretend to be calm. Lu Ziyuan smiled disdainfully. Whoosh. When the distance between the two was only 10 meters, Qin Feiyang suddenly used wind-riding steps and appeared in front of Lu Ziyuan at lightning speed. Is this your speed? Ant. Lu Ziyuan was even more disdainful. Clenching his 5 fingers into a fist, Battle Qi roared out and punched towards Qin Feiyang. He didn't even use any battle arts. It could be said that he was looking down on him to the extreme. Ant? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. His body tilted slightly and easily avoided it. Immediately after, his big hand reached out like lightning and slapped Lu Ziyuan's face. Pa! A loud slap suddenly resounded through the entire arena. Lu Ziyuan was sent flying on the spot. Like a meteorite, he smashed into the ground in the distance. The teeth in his mouth were all shattered and spurted out mixed with blood. His face was also swollen, and the bright red palm print was particularly eye-catching. Lu Xingchen frowned and there was a trace of surprise in his eyes. The martial arts practice field fell into dead silence again. Originally, they all thought that Lu Ziyuan could easily kill this person like how he killed Zhang Ren. But they didn't expect that it was Lu Ziyuan who was slapped instead. Qin Feiyang shook his hand and looked at Lu Ziyuan, who was lying on the ground with a face of disbelief, and said indifferently, "This slap is for Zhang Ren." Help Zhang Ren? You can't even protect yourself, and you still have the mood to help others? Go to hell. Lu Ziyuan was infuriated and jumped up abruptly. The aura of an 8-star battle king was fully released. He was like an enraged beast, with surging killing intent, rushing towards Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang used the wind-riding step and went up to meet him. The moment they met, he skillfully avoided Lu Ziyuan's attack and slapped him again. Pa! Lu Ziyuan was sent flying again and crashed into the ground, his head bleeding on the spot. Qin Feiyang said, "This slap is for Elder Yen." Yen Nanshan was slightly stunned. Bastard, I'm going to kill you. Lu Ziyuan was mad with anger. He turned over and got up, clapping his hands angrily. Battle Qi surged, and a falcon appeared out of nowhere. This was a low-grade battle art. The falcon was more than 100 feet long, and its whole body was ferocious. The pair of huge sharp claws flickered with a shocking cold light, grabbing towards Qin Feiyang's head. Qin Feiyang looked up and pointed his index finger in the air. A wave of sword aura gushed out from the tip of his finger. In an instant, a red flaming sword shadow condensed. Slash! Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the flaming sword shadow slashed through the air, cutting the falcon in half. At the same time, he took a step forward and sent out another slap. Lu Ziyuan let out a wail as his entire body flew out. His face was swollen like a pig's head. As a disciple of the sacred palace, you disrespected an elder. You deserve to be slapped. So, this slap is for Elder Yen. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Yen Nanshan was stunned, and his eyes suddenly lit up. That's right. This kid must be Qin Feiyang. In fact, Qin Feiyang was also hinting at Yen Nanshan. Obviously, Yen Nanshan understood. How can this be? Senior brother Lu is an 8-star battle monarch. Why can't he resist at all? Is he really that strong? The people below the stage were extremely incredulous. Shi Ming, Lu Xingchen, and Dong Qing also frowned. This is strange. Lu Yun was full of doubts. Why did he slap Lu Ziyuan twice on behalf of Yen Nanshan? Suddenly, her eyes lit up, and she looked up at Yen Nanshan. Yen Nanshan nodded at her. Brat. Lu Yun immediately cursed inwardly, but a faint smile appeared in his eyes. Lu Ziyuan, what are you doing? You can't even deal with a piece of trash like him? Xiao Hong and Dong Cheng shouted below the stage. Shut up, all of you. Lu Ziyuan shouted and climbed up in a sorry state, staring at Qin Feiyang. You have completely angered me. Eagle soars the sky. He roared and waved his hand. His battle aura turned into a dazzling waterfall and went against the flow. Chirp. A falcon that was 50 to 60 feet long appeared in the sky in an instant. When it spread its wings, it covered the sky. The falcon's black eyes emitted a sinister light. Chapter 411. Eagle Soars the Sky is a mid-tier combat art. With his 8-star Battle Monarch cultivation base and a mid-tier combat art, he can dominate the Battle Monarch realm. Senior Brother Lu, quickly kill that arrogant bastard. Lu Ziyuan's admirers below roared angrily. Bastard, go to hell. Lu Ziyuan laughed sinisterly. The huge falcon in the sky let out a sharp cry and swooped down towards Qin Feiyang. You want to turn the tables with this? Is it possible? Qin Feiyang shook his head and pointed his finger at the falcon. The third style of the Guishu art, splitting the sky. Boom! An invisible force, with Qin Feiyang as the center, crazily rolled out between heaven and earth. When the force reached the falcon, it immediately let out a wail and was torn into pieces. Puff! Lu Ziyuan immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His body seemed to have suffered a heavy blow, and he kept retreating. His face instantly turned pale. His eyes were filled with disbelief. What? He neutralized the Eagle Soars the Sky so easily. This is simply a crushing defeat. Everyone's heart trembled. This person's combat power is too strong. Lu Xingchen also stood up and shouted, Lu Ziyuan, you're no match for him. Quickly admit defeat. Admit defeat? I can't do it. Battle's soul, kill. Lu Ziyuan roared, and a huge beast shadow appeared behind him. It was also a black falcon. However, compared to the black falcon formed by the previous 2 combat arts, it was even more shocking. It's time to end this. Qin Feiyang whispered. As soon as he finished speaking, his entire aura suddenly changed greatly. If he was a docile little lamb before, at this moment, he had become a ferocious beast that bared its fangs. His entire body was emitting a shocking murderous aura. That cold gaze, that cold expression, he was even more like a merciless death god. Clang! 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 Crimson sword aura burst out. In an instant, 2 dazzling sword shadows appeared in the sky, making clanging sounds and emitting shocking sharpness. Guiyuan sword technique, annihilation. Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and 2 sword shadows whizzed out. Lu Ziyuan, dodge. Dong Qing also rose to her feet. The aura released by the 2 sword shadows was too powerful, far surpassing that of a 9-star battle monarch. If Lu Ziyuan did not dodge, he would definitely be smashed into smithereens on the spot. That's right. It's him. Yan Nanshan's eyes shone brightly. Previously, he had not dared to confirm that the person in front of him was Qin Feiyang. But now, the aura that Qin Feiyang exuded was all too familiar. He had seen it more than once in the county of Yan. Furthermore, this was the true face of Qin Feiyang. I admit defeat. Lu Ziyuan also panicked. His eyes were filled with fear. He blurted out the words admit defeat without any hesitation. However, Qin Feiyang did not stop. The 2 sword shadows were so sharp that they cut through the fighting soul like a hot knife through butter and landed on Lu Ziyuan's body. Ah! Accompanied by a shrill scream, Lu Ziyuan turned into ashes on the spot. Not even a strand of his hair was left. Bang! The sword shadows slashed the ground of the martial arts arena, creating a horizontal ditch. The martial arts arena was almost split into 2. Sword aura shot out in all directions and the wind howled. The crowd below the stage could not help but take a step back. Their faces were as white as a sheet. An 8-star battle monarch was killed in seconds. Was this person really a battle monarch? Was this not something that only a battle emperor could do? Right then. There was dead silence in the martial arts arena. One could hear a pin drop. However, this atmosphere did not last long. Very soon, there was an uproar. He's dead. Lu Ziyuan has been killed. This matter is getting out of hand. The Lu family will definitely not take this lying down. If this person does not have a powerful background, he will definitely die. Everyone was in an uproar. Lu Xingqian's expression turned gloomy for the first time. Shi Ming and Dong Qing were not in a good mood at this moment. However, Qin Feiyang did not take it to heart at all. He did not even look at them. This kind of competition is too boring. I might as well end it. He glanced at Dong Fangyu and the others below the stage and said expressionlessly, "You so-called geniuses of the sanctum, come at me together." Dong Fangyu and the others were stunned. Their faces were immediately filled with anger. Come at me together. How arrogant. How dare he challenge those monsters? Since he is so powerful, why was he unknown in the past? Everyone was in disbelief. This kind of boldness and courage was not inferior to Qin Feiyang's in the past. Bang! However, at this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly emerged and rolled toward Qin Feiyang. The entire arena fell silent again. Everyone looked at Lu Xingqian. Because the owner of this aura was him. Qin Feiyang also turned around and sneered. Finally can't help but attack. Lu Xingqian said, "Lu Ziyuan has already admitted defeat, but you still killed him cruelly. A person like you can't be left alive." What a joke. Why didn't you say this when Lu Ziyuan killed Zhang Ren? Is the Lu family the only one allowed to kill? Let me tell you, I was waiting for him to admit defeat before killing him. Do you know what this is called? This is called paying others back in their own coin. Qin Feiyang sneered. Dong Qing frowned and said, "Aren't you afraid of losing your life? Who can kill me?" Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and arrogantly, his body exuding a shocking domineering aura. This little bastard is too arrogant. Lu Yun muttered. However, she did not interrupt. She sat there and watched coldly. The Lu family was too arrogant. It was indeed necessary to destroy their arrogance. Lu Xingqian glanced coldly at Qin Feiyang and said to Lu Yun and the others, "I suggest disqualifying him from the competition." Lu Yun was silent. Dong Qing and Shi Ming were also silent. Idiot. Qin Feiyang shook his head. What do you mean? Lu Xingqian frowned. Just now, Lu Ziyuan deliberately killed Zhang Ren, and you let him stay. And now, Lu Ziyuan and I are having a life and death duel, and you agreed. Yet, you want to disqualify me. Aren't you just slapping your own face? Don't you feel ashamed? You've probably disgraced the Lu family. I didn't expect the famous Lu Xingqian to be such an idiot. Qin Feiyang sneered without hiding it. The crowd below nodded. That's right. Those who were slightly smarter would choose to remain silent at this moment. Because they were asking to be humiliated. They were embarrassing themselves. As for Dong Qing and Shi Ming, they both tactfully chose to remain silent. And Lu Xingqian was too stupid. They had never seen him in person before and only heard rumors about him. They thought that he was a very smart person. But now, it seemed that he didn't live up to his reputation. Qin Feiyang's words were like a resounding slap to Lu Xingqian's face, waking him up. He was extremely upset. Why did he make such a serious mistake in a moment of impulse? The good image that he had built up in the past was all gone this time. Because of this, his hatred for Qin Feiyang became even stronger. His eyes flashed slightly, and he faced the crowd, cupped his hands, and said, "I was too rude just now. I apologize to everyone. Looks like he's up to something again." Qin Feiyang muttered. Indeed. After Lu Xingqian apologized, he turned to look at Lu Yun and the other two and smiled faintly. Since he wants to challenge Dongfang Yu and the others, why don't we fulfill his wish? Lu Yun raised his eyebrows. Elder Lu, please wait for me to finish. Since he dares to speak, it proves that he definitely has the ability. We can also see how much potential he has. How malleable is he? If he really defeats everyone, then the first place will belong to him. The reward can also be given to him in advance. Lu Xingchen smiled. That seems to make sense. Dong Qing nodded. Shiming smiled. Then let's do as he wishes. Lu Yun's eyes darkened. I firmly disagree with such a ridiculous competition. Lu Xingchen smiled. But Dong Qing, Elder Shi, and I have all agreed. How dare you? Lu Yun was furious. She stood up and looked at Lu Xingchen, saying coldly, the Sacred Hall is not your Lu family. You have no right to criticize us. If you don't behave, I'll cripple you. Lu Xingchen smiled. Elder Lu, we're voting. There's no need to be angry, right? Smack. Lu Yun couldn't hold it in anymore and slapped Lu Xingchen's face. All the disciples were stunned. Yan Nanshan, Shiming, and Dong Qing were also in a daze. They didn't expect Lu Yun to slap Lu Xingchen. Qin Feiyang was also stunned. He couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. This Elder Lu really had a bad temper. She attacked without any hesitation. This time, Lu Xingchen must have lost a lot of face. This was the outcome of not knowing what was good for him. Lu Xingchen was also dumbfounded. He was used to being high and mighty and being looked up to by others. His vanity had already swelled to an uncontrollable level. Lu Yun's slap not only trampled on his self-esteem, but it also left an indelible stain on his glorious life. Why? Are you not convinced? One shouldn't forget one's roots. I was the one who groomed you. If not for me, would you have achieved what you have today? Now that your wings have hardened, you don't take me seriously. The Academy Lord was right. You are a white-eyed wolf. Lu Yun sneered. What? The Academy Lord said such a thing? Dong Qing's pupils constricted. Lu Xingchen's expression also changed. The Academy Lord was actually unhappy with him? If that was the case, then wouldn't his marriage with Ren Wuxuang be? At the thought of this, Lu Xingchen's face turned pale. He didn't dare to continue thinking about it. He hurriedly said, Elder Lu, I was foolish just now. Please forgive me. Disciple? I don't have such a promising disciple like you. Lu Yun sneered with a look of disdain. Lu Xingchen's face turned red. The gazes from below the stage made him feel like a clown. He wished he could find a hole to hide in. He didn't even dare to look up at everyone. The resentment in his heart towards Qin Feiyang became even more intense. If not for his sudden appearance, none of this would have happened. He wouldn't have ended up in such a sorry state now. Just you wait. You embarrassed me, so I won't let you have it easy. Chapter 412. Qin Feiyang sensed the hostility shown by Lu Xingchen. But he didn't take it to heart. In fact, before this, he was very afraid of Lu Xingchen. Because of all kinds of rumors, Lu Xingchen was almost deified. Moreover, Ren Wuxuang had also warned him to be careful of this person. He originally thought that Lu Xingchen would be a very difficult opponent. But after observing now, it was not the case. Although this person was talented and shrewd, he was not very smart. There was nothing to worry about. Ahem. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and looked at Lu Yun. Elder Lu, just sit there with peace of mind. I promise to give you a wonderful performance. Lu Yun frowned. Did this kid know what was good for him? Couldn't he tell that she was helping him? Qin Feiyang smiled. Swish. All of a sudden, he turned to look at Dongfang Yu and the others and sneered. Lu Xingchen, Dong Qing, and Shi Ming have already agreed. Don't waste any more time. Hurry up and come up to die. This group of people had strong self-esteem. They would never join forces with others unless it was a critical moment. But Qin Feiyang did not want to take them one by one. It was too time-consuming. Therefore, he said this to arouse the anger in Dongfang Yu and the others. As expected. As soon as he finished speaking, a group of people rushed to the martial arts practice field. There were a total of 28 people. Their eyes were burning with anger. Yan Nanshan looked at Qin Feiyang helplessly, retreated to the edge of the martial arts practice field, and shouted, "Don't go too far. Begin." But none of the 28 people made a move. "Don't dawdle. Bring it on. If you come one by one, I can crush you with one finger." Qin Feiyang continued to provoke. "Arrogant. Let's see how you crush us." One of the burly men, with an astonishing aura, summoned his battle soul and charged towards Qin Feiyang. This person was also a 7-star battle king. Then watch carefully. Qin Feiyang pointed his finger in the air. A crimson sword shadow appeared out of nowhere and slashed down with irresistible force. In an instant, the burly man's fighting soul shattered. The sword shadow whistled and continued to slash at his head. The burly man was stunned on the spot. He stood there motionless, but his legs were trembling violently. He didn't think that Qin Feiyang was that strong when he was watching from the audience. However, now that they were clashing head-on, he immediately realized that this person was undefeatable. As the sword descended, it looked like it was about to split the burly man into two. Yan Nanshan's expression changed as he shouted, "Don't kill him." Clang! The sword shadow suddenly trembled and stopped above the burly man's head. It was only a paper's distance from the burly man's head. Plop! The burly man was paralyzed with fear. Cold sweat trickled down his back, and his face turned ghastly pale. His body, which was 1.9 meters tall, was trembling. His eyes were filled with terror. Yan Nanshan heaved a sigh of relief as well. With a wave of his hand, his battle chi turned into a waterfall that wrapped around the burly man and sent him out of the training ground. Yan Nanshan was afraid that Qin Feiyang would kill all of them. The eyes of the remaining 27 people also began to turn serious. Qin Feiyang's combat strength had completely exceeded their expectations. If they were to fight him one by one, they might truly be defeated in the end. However, they truly could not join forces. "You're not going to attack? Then I'll force you guys to attack." Qin Feiyang's gaze turned cold. The crimson sword shadow that paused in the void let out an ear-piercing metallic sound as it howled towards Dongfang Yu and the others. "He's going too far. Everyone, stop hesitating and join forces to cripple him." Xiao Jian hollered. Everyone's auras burst forth. They were furious. They did not object to arrogance, but there had to be a limit. The next moment, 27 streams of battle chi surged into the skies and gathered, forming a resplendent pillar of light that blasted towards the crimson sword shadow. "They're finally willing to join forces." Qin Feiyang's eyes flickered as an astonishing battle intent surged from his body. He glanced at Dong Cheng and Xiao Hong. Both of them had also broken through to become 8-star battle monarchs. Whoosh! Without hesitation, he used the phantom steps and rushed towards the 27 people. The training ground was filled with his phantoms. So fast. Lu Yun and the other 3 suddenly stood up, their eyes filled with shock. Yan Nanshan was the same. In the blink of an eye, Qin Feiyang arrived in front of the 2 young men. His hands shot out explosively and smashed into the 2 men's chests. These 2 were 7-star battle monarchs. Ah! The 2 of them were instantly sent flying. Blood spurted out of their mouths. Like 2 cannonballs, they shot towards the crowd below the stage and instantly smashed a large number of people. "Brat, you're too arrogant." However, at the same time, two disciples charged towards Qin Feiyang from behind. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Activating the phantom steps, he instantly disappeared from the sight of the two men. What? Where is he? The two of them were shocked. Dongfang, who was standing not far away, shouted, "He's behind you. How can he be so fast?" The two of them changed their expressions and hurriedly turned around. However, just as they turned around, Qin Feiyang raised his leg at lightning speed and kicked their buttocks hard. Ow! The two of them were instantly sent flying. Their faces were distorted as they covered their buttocks with both hands. They screamed like pigs being slaughtered and fell outside the training ground. Their buttocks were kicked. Seeing this, the people below the stage looked at the two of them sympathetically. These two were also 7-star battle monarchs. He's too fast. We can't do anything to him at all. The two young women were extremely shocked and furious. More than 20 people joined forces and still couldn't stop him. It was simply a great humiliation. Dong Qing roared, "Is it a superior auxiliary battle art?" No. It's not a superior one. It's a perfect auxiliary battle art. Dong Qing said word by word. How is that possible? The spiritual state doesn't even have a perfect slaughter battle art, let alone an auxiliary battle art. Dongfang Yu and the others changed their expressions and their faces were full of disbelief. Just as they were speaking, another 3 disciples were blasted out of the training ground and spat out blood. As a result, there were only 20 people left in the training ground. Dong Qing said in disbelief, "He's a 7-star battle monarch, but his speed is twice as fast as a 9-star battle monarch. If it's not a perfect auxiliary battle art, what is it? Damn it. Why is it like this? Who exactly is he?" Lu Xingchen clenched his fists and a strong cold light burst out of his eyes. He originally wanted to use these people to cripple Qin Feiyang. However, the battle had just begun and these people were defeated by this person. If this continued, there was no chance of winning at all. Bam! Bam! Ah! At this moment, another 5 people were blasted out and fell to the ground with serious injuries. Now, there were only 15 people left. Swish! Qin Feiyang flashed and retreated quickly. Everyone was stunned. Why didn't he chase after him? I understand now. The real battle has just begun. Someone said. What do you mean? Everyone was puzzled. Look carefully. The 13 people who were blasted out earlier were all 7-star battle monarchs. The people left in the training ground now are all 8-star battle monarchs. In other words, this person thinks that those 7-star battle monarchs are too much of a hindrance, so he asked them to leave the training ground in advance. He stopped at this moment to give Dongfang Yu and the others a chance to catch their breath. That person explained. What? He actually gave them a chance to catch their breath? Is he stupid? He's not stupid. He's full of confidence. In his eyes, this battle may really be just a boring game. Everyone was discussing animatedly. The 13 people who were blasted out of the training ground were extremely ashamed and resentful. He actually thinks that we're a hindrance? This is outrageous. Xiao Jian, Dongfang Yu, Dong Cheng, you must do your best and cripple him. The 13 people roared. Dongfang Yu and the others who were standing in the training ground were also extremely angry. He said that he was giving them time to catch their breath, but in fact, he was humiliating them. Dongfang Yu shouted, "Everyone, I'm not afraid of losing, but I'm afraid of losing without dignity. Go all out." Boom! Streaks of battle aura soared into the sky, illuminating half of the sky. 15 people used their battle arts at the same time. There were inferior battle arts. There were intermediate battle arts. Dongfang Yu and Xiao Jian had even mastered an advanced battle art. With them as the center, waves of powerful auras rolled out in all directions. Kill! They roared into the sky. Their battle cries shook the sky. 15 types of battle arts, with shocking power, charged toward Qin Feiyang with earth-shattering might. Qin Feiyang glanced at those battle arts and nodded. Not bad, but it's far from enough. After that, he released his aura. His robes fluttered, and his long hair danced wildly. He was like a god of war who had returned, domineering and domineering. Ultimate ruin. He raised his arm and pointed his index finger in the air. Boom! An invisible and vast force spread between heaven and earth like a volcanic eruption. The next moment, a scene that shocked the entire place appeared. One after another, the battle arts collapsed one after another, turning into nothingness in the blink of an eye. Even Dongfang Yu and Xiao Jian's superior battle arts did not last long and dissipated. All the battle arts seemed to have evaporated into thin air. That was the true mystery of ultimate ruin. Everything would return to nothingness. What? It's a perfect battle art again. Dongfang Yu and Xiao Jian widened their eyes and could not help but exclaim on the spot. They were 8-star battle monarchs and were a minor realm higher than Qin Feiyang. And their battle arts were all superior battle arts. However, Qin Feiyang destroyed their battle arts with a finger. This could completely prove that the ultimate ruin that Qin Feiyang executed was a perfect slaughter battle art. Furthermore, it was a top-notch perfect battle art. Although battle arts were divided into 4 levels, inferior, intermediate, superior, and perfect, there were also differences in strength between each level. For example, if the ultimate ruin technique and Guiyuan sword technique were to be compared, the ultimate ruin technique would be slightly stronger. Perfect support battle art. Perfect slaughter battle art. Who the hell is he? Everyone's eyes were filled with bewilderment. Lu Yun and Yan Nanshan were also dumbfounded, filled with disbelief. What had this kid been doing for the past 7 months? What's the big deal about a perfect battle art? You have to know that our cultivation levels are higher than his. Everyone, we haven't lost yet. Activate your battle souls. Xiao Hong and Dong Qing roared. That's right, we haven't lost, and we can't lose. Because we can't afford to lose. Chapter 413. Yes. We can't afford to lose. Let's give it our all and fight him to the death. The other 11 people also roared. If they were to lose here, then these so-called geniuses and monsters would undoubtedly become the biggest laughingstock of the Divine Temple. The people below the stage also held their breaths. They did not even dare to blink for fear of missing the next scene. Roar. Clang. The fighting souls continued to soar into the air. There were weapon-fighting souls. There were fierce beast-fighting souls. There were also rare fighting souls with natural attributes. The natural attributes were gold, wood, water, fire, earth, light, darkness, wind, lightning, and so on. For glory. For dignity. Kill. Dongfang Yu shouted. The 15 fighting souls released a shocking aura and roared in the sky as they charged toward Qin Feiyang. Deep in the sacred hall, above a mountain range, a pair of sisters stood in the wind. One was wearing a purple dress, while the other was wearing a colorful dress. Both of them had a peerless appearance. These two were the pavilion master of the Precious Treasure Pavilion and the Grand Hall master of the Sacred Hall. Both of them looked at the martial arts arena. The lady in purple laughed and said, "Sister, do you think he can win?" The lady in colorful thought for a while and said with a faint smile, "He should be able to." The lady in purple said, "Don't say, should. I'm just not sure." "Sister, why don't we make a bet?" "Bet on what?" The lady in colorful was puzzled. The lady in purple said, "I bet that he will definitely win. If I'm right, you will kick him out of the Sacred Hall." The lady in colorful was stunned and said, "Then the Precious Treasure Pavilion will extend an olive branch to him?" "Yes." The lady in purple nodded and said with a smile, "Do you dare to bet with me?" "You wish." The lady in colorful rolled her eyes and said softly, I can't bear to let go of such a talent. Hearing this, the lady in purple shook her head and laughed, but there was a trace of disappointment in her eyes. The martial arts arena. The 15 fighting souls' auras were overwhelming. The disciples below the stage could not help but be frightened. However, Qin Feiyang looked calm and was not nervous at all. Since my fighting souls were activated, they have never shown themselves in front of anyone. Today, I'll let you shine. Qin Feiyang murmured. Clang. A metallic sound exploded. Like a heavenly sword being unsheathed, it was earth-shattering. Before the fighting soul appeared, a shocking radiance spread out between the heavens and the earth. What's the situation? Everyone was shocked. Suddenly, a crimson-red battle sword soared into the air from Qin Feiyang's back. He was more than 10 meters long, and his entire body was surrounded by flames. Not only was he sharp, but he also carried a faint ferocious aura. This is his fighting soul? It's obviously just an ordinary war soul, but why do I feel fear? Why do I feel like there's a peerless ferocious beast sealed inside the sword? Everyone was bewildered. Qin Feiyang stared at the battle sword and pointed at the 15 war spirits with his index finger. He smiled and said, Go and show your glory. Clang. The battle sword trembled in the air and turned into a dazzling ray of light as it flew towards the 15 war souls. As it approached, a huge flaming beast roared as it rushed out from the sword. However, there was only a silhouette and no one could tell what it was. However, as soon as it came out, the war souls opposite it could not help but tremble. They looked as if they were afraid, as if they had met the king of beasts. Roar. Clang. The flaming beast roared. The battle sword clanged. The two were like kings descending to the world. Wherever they passed, nothing could stop them. They crushed everything. Dongfang Yu and the rest's fighting souls were like babies in front of them, unable to withstand a single blow. In a few breaths, the 15 war souls were annihilated. At the same time, the 15 people's bodies trembled violently, and a trace of blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. Is this for real? The disciples below the stage stared with their eyes wide open. Although there were differences in strength between fighting souls, this person's fighting soul was ridiculously strong, right? One had to know. Dongfang Yu and the rest were rare evildoers, and their fighting souls were naturally not weak. However, under this person's fighting soul, they could not resist at all. Who exactly was this person? It's really amazing. Qin Feiyang murmured. He was very satisfied with the power of the red sword soul. And the red sword Qi's innate superpower was the flaming beast. However, even he did not know what the flaming beast was. However, he could clearly sense that the strength of the flaming beast was completely beyond this. It had yet to be discovered. He looked at Dong Cheng, Xiao Hong, Xiao Jian, and Dongfang Yu, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Roar. The flaming beast roared in the sky and swooped down toward Dong Cheng and Xiao Hong. Clang. At the same time, the battle sword turned in the air and slashed toward Dongfang Yu and Xiao Jian with a shocking sharpness. What's going on? Why did it target Xiao Jian and the rest? Does it have a grudge against the four of them? Everyone was surprised. Damn it. The four people's faces changed. They immediately performed battle arts and activated their fighting souls, roaring toward the flaming beast and the battle sword. Seeing this, the other 11 people quickly retreated to the side, their eyes were full of surprise. Boom! Although the battle sword and the flaming beast were separated, the power was not reduced at all. Dongfang Yu and the other three's fighting souls and battle arts collapsed one after another. The situation was not good. The four of them quickly retreated. The battle sword and the flaming beast slammed into the martial arts practice field, and half of the martial arts practice field was instantly turned into ashes. What a powerful fighting soul. Everyone was dumbfounded. With just one fighting soul, the four of them were killed without any strength to fight back. It was incredible. Dongfang Yu and the other three were also horrified. Fortunately, they dodged in time. Otherwise, they would have followed in Lu Ziyuan's footsteps. Xiao Jian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at Qin Feiyang with a ferocious face. He said angrily, "What do you mean?" "What do I mean?" Qin Feiyang raised the corner of his mouth and sneered. "You may have forgotten, but I haven't." He waved his hand and the flaming beast retracted the battle sword. The battle sword also turned in the air and turned into a flash of light, returning to his qi. Everyone thought that the battle was over. However, Qin Feiyang pointed his finger again, and the red sword qi burst out from his fingertip like a tide. Clang! Accompanied by the ear-piercing sound of metal, for sword shadows appeared out of nowhere. Guiyuan sword technique, annihilation. Qin Feiyang shouted in a low voice. The four sword shadows rushed into the sky and lit up half of the sky, whistling toward Dongfang Yu and the other three. Dong Qing shouted, "Don't fight it head-on." The Guiyuan sword technique is also a perfect battle art. What? Dongfang Yu and the other three were shocked. He had mastered 3 perfect battle arts. The 4 of them panicked. Their bodies couldn't help but tremble. Deep in their hearts, a deep sense of despair emerged uncontrollably and drowned their whole body and mind. They even forgot to dodge the sword shadows. Seeing that the 4 of them were about to die tragically under the sword shadows, Qin Feiyang shifted the 4 sword shadows and blasted the ground beside the 4 of them. Boom! The ground cracked, and 4 huge trenches appeared. Dust covered the sky and the sun. Dongfang Yu and the other 3 were sent flying in the first place. Although the sword shadows didn't hit them directly, the terrifying sword qi made their skin and flesh split open in an instant, and blood splattered everywhere. Bang! Bang! In the end, they rolled on the ground and were drowned in dust. Are they dead? Everyone looked at the place covered in dust. Yan Nanshan looked at Qin Feiyang helplessly. As long as that brat returned, the state capital would not be peaceful. He waved his sleeves and a gust of wind blew, blowing away the dust. Dongfang Yu and the other 3 were revealed. The 4 of them were covered in injuries and lying in a pool of blood on the verge of death. Their faces were pale and their eyes were filled with fear. It's good that they're not dead. Yan Nanshan looked at the 4 of them and heaved a sigh of relief. However, their injuries wouldn't be healed in a short period of time. He's too strong. These paragons are like ants in front of him. The disciples below the stage looked at the dilapidated martial arts practice field and the 4 of them who were severely injured and sighed. Qin Feiyang looked at the other 11 people and said, "Do you still want to continue?" The 11 of them looked at each other with bitter smiles on their faces. They had already done their best, but they couldn't even hurt a single hair on the other party. Was there a need to continue? The 11 of them turned around and helped Dongfang Yu and the other 3 off the stage. However, at this moment, the corners of Qin Feiyang's mouth rose slightly as he pursed his lips into a cold smile. The show had just begun. Xiao Jian suddenly turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang. "What do you mean by what you said just now? What exactly did I forget?" Qin Feiyang said, "You'll know later." Xiao Jian looked at him deeply, turned around, and staggered out of the martial arts practice field. It was indeed exciting. Lu Yun stood up and clapped with both hands. Clap. The disciples below the stage also applauded. He defeated 28 paragons alone and ended in a complete victory. Such a battle record was enough to make him famous. Right. Do you know his name? No. I don't know either. What's going on? Why don't you know? Even if he kept a low profile in the past, someone should know his name, right? The crowd was in an uproar again. Lu Xingchen heard the discussion, and his eyes flashed slightly. He cupped his hands and said to Qin Feiyang, "May I know your name?" Qin Feiyang said, "Give me the potential pill first." "No. We have to confirm whether you're a disciple of the sacred hall or not. If you're not only will you not get the potential pill, we'll also charge you with the crime of trespassing the sacred hall." Shi Ming said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyang said, "Then ask Elder Lu if I'm a disciple of the sacred hall." "He's a disciple of the pill hall." Lu Yun nodded without hesitation. "Really?" Shi Ming frowned. Lu Yun raised his eyebrows and shouted, "Cut the crap. Give him the potential pill." "Humph, if I find out that you're helping him hide the truth, then don't blame me for being ruthless." Shi Ming snorted, took out a jade box, and threw it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang caught it and opened the jade box. The potential pill was immediately exposed in front of everyone. Immediately, all the disciples below looked at the potential pill in unison, their eyes full of desire. Dongfang Yu and the others were also envious. Qin Feiyang glanced at the disciples around, then looked at Lu Xingchen and Dong Qing, and finally locked his eyes on Shi Ming. "I don't care about this thing.